Let's see. All right. So we should be live now. Everybody speak.
Hello,
Hello.
Bueller, Frank,
Hi.
Billy Bob Thornton.
Mike check.
Is that all right? Is that better Twitch chat if anybody is
Twitch
left
chat,
in our
can you
Twitch
hear
chat?
us?
If anyone
Well,
is left over.
Hold for the 30-second delay.
Actually, hey,
Buenos dias, putas.
There we go.
Oh,
Oh.
echoey.
There we go.
yeah, that's because I cranked the volume on Twitch chat.
Yeah, he was checking to make sure his was working. Awesome. So we're back. Sorry about that, guys. My computer just needed to be rebooted, so we are all set and we're good to go. So, party. I was explaining that there was 4 frost giants pretty far away on the other side of town, basically just rummaging through town, just crushing things under their weapons, and there were 3 a little bit closer than that on the edge of. Have you guys ever seen pictures of a pit mine before?
I can Google it right now.
If you Google the picture of a pit mine, it basically is like it's kind of like it's a pit that's like carved into the ground of how this mine goes, and it almost like seems like that's kind of what this bay area looks like. The cliff along the edge of the water that's kind of carved into the water. It's imagine like a pit mine, but only half of it. And
like Minecraft in real life.
It's like Minecraft in real life. That's basically
No.
So they have this carved out, and you can see that 3 of these giants are on the other side of that pit mine, kind of just rolling these huge boulders and stuff, trapping people inside who have run inside seeking refuge. And down at the bottom, probably the closest group to you, they're down at the very bottom of this pit, basically, right along the docks where all these large just crates and things that they've been putting all of this like iron ore and things in that they were been pulling out of these mines. You can see that they're down there, and you also notice the 3 that rolled extremely well. Notice that 2 of those giants are looking up towards your direction. And one of them kind of looks like as if he's looking at the other one. They're kind of talking back and forth, but they're way too far away for you guys to be able to hear what they're saying. But one of them, sitting on its shoulder, it has some kind of bright white bird. And you see him kind of point in your general direction, and the bird immediately kind of his wings start to unravel from its sides, and he starts to flap and lift off of the giant's shoulder, looking like it's coming up towards where you guys are.
Molfen is going to get ready to cast a firebolt the minute it's in range.
Okay.
No.
And looking at the group, and we can see that there are people like running into this mine, or
yeah, it's basically, imagine this town is, imagine about, I think it said it was about 15,000 people live here. Imagine them all running in terror, either seeking the refuge of the mines themselves. A lot of the dwarven families you see like kind of grabbing up their kids and things like that, running into these mines. So the occasional rock gnome family just like running towards the mines. You see a lot of like humans and even taller villagers, and some even a sprinkle of dragonborn running across the tundra, looking to head towards like the light forest area that you guys had kind of come through to get to Dashara's residence. You hear screaming all around you, but it's just so faint because it's kind of still far off from where you guys are.
I personally think we should deal with the few that are down there by that mine. It seems to be that they are trapping people within.
Agreed. We need to evacuate the city and, I don't know, run? That's what I don't know. That's what sounds good to me. Evacuate and run.
Callista, to you, you're on top of Malik, right?
Yep.
You can see that the two giants that were kind of communicating, and the one that left its bird kind of pointed in that direction, and the bird took off from. They're picking up their weapons cautiously on the dock, and they're starting to walk, keeping their eyes kind of up in your direction, and they're starting to walk as if they're maybe headed to investigate. The third one seems like he's busy kind of putting all these different mined products into this large burlap bag that he's got with him, and it seems like one of the giants like looks over and just kind of tells him to keep on doing what he's doing, and he just kind of nods back at him.
We're gonna have company if we don't decide what we're doing right now. Even if
Let's
we were to
take
go
off
over.
them.
Here's the thing: if we go over to the mines, we're gonna be having company follow us. So we're gonna be dealing with like 5 giants instead of 2.
With the people there.
We could hide and rescue people after the giants leave.
If they're not all dead, Lachlan.
I mean, hopefully they can hide pretty well. They should have learned that by now in life.
Oh my gosh, we are not blaming the victim.
Who can't hide?
And Michael, you said the 2 that are walking up, are they coming up from the mine or are they coming from a different area?
They would be coming from the docks.
Dock.
The stone docks down that kind of right now the docks are completely surrounded by ice because the bay itself is frozen over. Until you get to the edge of the bay, it looks like the ice kind of dissipates, and you can see the long ship that they came in on is just like carved it's like they drove this long ship as hard as they could into the ice, and they cracked a little bit of the ice, and then it got stuck, and it's like stationary there, and then they were able to jump off onto the ice and just kind of march across it in different directions.
And how far is Callista from us? Is she in conversational range or?
I'm hovering above.
Yeah, she's kind of hovering
Right.
30 or 40 feet above you guys.
Callista, if those 2 are coming from the docks, what
Yeah.
if we dealt with them and then set their ship on fire? Perhaps it would draw the giants away from the villages towards the vessel.
Molfin, make a perception check for me. An additional one.
If
Oh man,
that-
now I'm going to roll like a 2.
If that works, then we could distract the giants with the burning ship and then rescue the villagers in the meantime.
The ship still looks like it has several giants on board.
Oh,
I would know that with a I would know that with a 6.
You would know that with a 6, yes. You're not this
they are giants.
the key is I said several. I didn't tell you how many.
We could light the giants on fire with the fire on the boat.
We could go get reinforcements
Just-
in a nearby town.
What are you talking about, reinforcements? You have Sarvin, King of the Frozen Far, right here standing next to you. You've got Sarvin, King of the Frozen Far. You've got my new friend here, Kentucky. And Kentucky just smiles at you guys.
Kentucky, no.
What's Shara doing?
Deshara's kind of hovering with you. She's kind of like listening to all the commotion. She's like, are we going to make a decision or what? Look, these people are running for their lives.
Exactly, thank you. But should we all go help them, or should some of us distract the giants with the ship burning?
Should we be
As
thinking
much
about the
as I
big
would love to burn
picture,
the
the
ship, I don't think
warning?
that's gonna work. There's too many of them. I'm already like hurting. I don't know what the rest of you, but like we got our butts kicked just then.
She has a point.
We can't just leave people to die.
Well, we can't come back and save them if we're dead.
Okay, well, let us think about this. Who has incendiary items? Who has things that can be burned? We need things that catch fire easily.
I have incense.
No.
No. Need something with an open flame.
It'll smell
I
good.
have
It'll smell good.
towers of Ilmater.
Does anyone have a lantern?
I am a
I'm, like, digging around
cleric
there,
of
like-
light, so technically I am a lantern.
Yes, but you're not full of grease that I can crack open and put in a satchel.
Okay.
I have Druidcraft produced flame. What do you want?
Well, if we are not going to... It is a bad idea for us to go our separate ways.
Very bad.
So,
Yeah.
my thought is, I have a wonderful little friend that I can send down with a small parcel to ignite the boat for us. But in order
I have
to
10
do this,
candles.
I need something that we could have lit aflame just by simply touching a torch to it.
I have 10 candles, a tinderbox, an alms box. I don't know what that is.
I will not take your money box. Does anyone have a small bag? Kentucky, do you?
No, let me check. He just starts like shuffling around.
Give it to
I have a
Bob
backpack.
and
A
chop
decent
it up
size-
into firewood.
A backpack?
I have a backpack.
Do you mind losing it?
I would have to carry my blanket, my incense, all of my personal belongings in my hands for the next 30 minutes, but sure.
Well, no, Lachlan, open the bag and let her place her things in there.
Okay. I'll kind of fly over on my griffin and open the bag of
Kentucky's
holding.
like, whoa. Don't give up, Diana. Don't give up your backpack. Here, take mine. And before he hands it to you, he pulls out a banjo out of it, and then he hands it to you. He's like, just don't ask. And he sets it down beside.
Why?
I said don't ask.
Oh, sorry. Look how
I like a
generous.
dude who can play guitar.
This is going to be a very bad idea.
No. Oh no.
Who has
Oh
a
my God.
Who has a tinder? I need
I
a
do.
fire starter. Oh, may I take it from
I
you?
do.
I
Yeah.
light my hand on fire.
No, this is what I need someone else to be able to do besides us, unless you want to get up close and personal with a rather
Okay, fair. Go
ongoing
for
groups
it.
of giants. So, Molfin spends. Let me see. Actually, now that I've had this big level, one action, perfect.
Oh gosh.
So, Molfin spends a couple of seconds and summons himself his invisible servant.
Right. No, as you're casting this spell, Molfin, you can feel the presence of your unseen servant again. Obviously, you can't see him because he's unseen, but you know he's there.
Perfect. Now, what does the ground look like around me?
It's
Pretty.
it's icy. It's frozen. It's cold. It seems like imagine up there where you live. If there was a grassy area and there was a little bit of snow on top of it, you could still see a little bit of the grass kind of poking through. But it's the snow that's there is almost completely frozen.
Do you need me
So-
to do something, Molfin?
Well, we may need a minor disturbance to draw some attention away from the boat in a few moments.
Wow,
Molfin-
rescuing the villagers sounds like a minor disturbance to me.
Well, we are all going to be heading there, while somebody else is going to be taking a short walk.
Oh,
At
that's
first,
incredible.
Sarvin just starts going. Sarvin looks a little bit confused, and he goes, "Whoa! You know what? I've heard rumors that these frost giants they carry their treasure in their holds of their ship. If we light it on fire, we'd be burning some treasure."
That would be a crime.
Do you want
Yes, but-
treasure or to save lives?
More like,
I mean, come on.
I guess-
really? Really? Not really?
I kind of, to be honest, Diana, I'd like both.
I want. Oh no! I
Can't-
hit them. I want to smack both on the head.
Can't we have both? I mean,
I smack him. Can I slap him, please?
yeah, you slap him.
I'll
Ouch!
roll an attack for that. I'll roll damage for that.
Sarvin, if we light their boat on fire, let us assume that this treasure will be money and metals and gems. They will only be at the bottom of the lake. Certainly a skilled individual as yourself could swim down and retrieve what he wanted.
Well,
Water walk.
I guess you do have a point there. Huh? Maybe Lachlan the Legendary could help me.
Yes, I'm sure he'd be willing to for a small cut of the profit.
I'm sure Diana the Divine could help me as well.
Indeed. Treasure later, lives now.
Perfect. Molfin casts grease in a section about 5-7 feet away, just so it's out of our range,
Okay.
and starts pushing as much of the grease as he can into that backpack.
Nice.
5 guys, fried bags.
So Molfin is down there with this slimy yellowish grease, and he's just pulling it into the backpack. And Callista, you are kind of following along with Lachlan. Lachlan, you're still up top as well, right? Kind of just shouting back and forth down.
Yeah,
on top.
exactly.
So you guys are kind of making formation, and Deshara, hearing all this, is kind of like, okay, well, what's our role?
Molfin takes the backpack full of grease and the flint and tinder from Diana, hands them both to the unseen servant.
Yes, okay.
Go down to the boat, hang this off the side of the boat, and light it on fire.
Okay. So all of a sudden, this floating backpack and floating tinderbox just starts to move in the direction of the boat.
Be stealthy, hon.
What do you want for
Do not be
distraction,
seen.
Molfin?
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Christy?
What do you want for a distraction? I have a dire wolf.
Yeah, there's a dire wolf standing next to you. It's breathing, and you can see that the cold. You can see its breath. It's just so cold as it's breathing next to you.
Well, that will deal with one aspect of it. Now, I'm not quite sure how to deal with... We have the two coming towards us in the bird.
Yeah, and Callista, you can see that they're slowly starting to make their way up these steep ramps along the sides of this.
I can
this
send my
mine.
dire wolf down to them and give them more of a delay.
And that's when you notice that this bird is starting to get closer. And it is kind of probably within about 300 feet of you guys now as it's flapping its wings towards you.
How big is it? What type of bird?
It appears to be an albino giant eagle.
Oh,
We run now. I prepare sacred flame.
Well, let's see.
Readying crossbow.
Calista, you may be correct. It may be best to delay those two if we can, but do we need to deal with them before we go deal with the other three with the villagers? You may have a point that it may be more prudent to just take them on and then go try to rescue the others with the three over there, or... I'm not quite sure.
my concern is if we go to the three with the villagers, the two are going to come up on our rear, and then we're surrounded by 5 giants.
So you may have a
You
point. We
get
may
three
have to
giants?
deal with these two here, and we may...
Deshara kind
There-
of shouts out at you, Molfin, too, and she's like, These people know the mines. They're safe there until we can free them.
Exactly.
Then I guess we forgo the diversion and go hunting?
The diversion still works because it could get them away from everyone else, away from the city.
Right, so we have the ship burning as a potential diversion there. We deal with the two in front of us so they don't sneak up behind.
Exactly.
But then we need a diversion to deal with the others.
And at that point, you hear the cawing of an eagle. It's now within 100
I
feet
lift
of
off.
all of you. Well,
Great.
I,
So,
Wait, too late. Too late. Never mind. I was going to try to talk to it like a druid should.
Molten
Right, Callista
had the spell ready for when it was in range.
Callista turns towards the eagle, begins to speak, and all of a sudden a firebolt just slams into the eagle, exploding upon impact. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one too. My goodness. My goodness gracious.
I
I'm so
also okay,
sorry.
that's 60 feet. When that thing gets within 60 feet, I have Sacred Flame prepared. So
Okay,
What if it was a prisoner?
Lachlan,
Get away.
you had were you going to shoot a crossbow bolt at it? You had a crossbow prepared, or you just kind of just holding
I'm
it
just
still?
kind of in awe of the flames engulfing this thing
Okay,
and not shooting.
immediately after being impacted, you can see that a lot of the feathers have fallen off of the front of this bird and are slowly starting to just doing the feather fall down towards the ground as it just immediately starts to flap its wings backwards, the opposite direction. It's like cawing and just this awful screeching sound that it's making, and it just turns around and then it disappears down over the cliffside. Seemingly heading back towards the other giants.
Well,
Diplomatic immunity.
Well, I was really hoping that would knock it to the ground. It seemed like it may be going down to warn them that we're up here now.
They already see us.
oh, that's a distraction.
Well, at least now my servant friend will be able to get down there much easier.
Okay. So it's really up to you. You guys are just kind of waiting. Molfin, are you doing anything to keep an eye on this floating backpack and tinderbox, or because it's kind of disappeared out of your view now as it's trudging down the ramp? Several ramps that lead down
No,
towards
it's
the bay.
not.
It's gonna take it a little while because I don't think the unseen servant can move very fast.
It doesn't specify. Let's see, AC strength of 2. Oh, geez, it moves 15 feet around.
Yeah, 15 feet around. So it's going to take it a little while for this to take place. It may not reach the boat before the giants reach you. It's the giants still have a long way to go, but
I just read the end of it.
oh, what's it say?
So about 24 seconds after it started to walk away, the bag and the tinderbox just drop.
Oh no! What? It can't carry anything?
It can't move more than
can't go
60 feet
far.
away from me.
Oh yeah, it gets 60
But-
feet away. But as the caster, you would know this, even though we didn't have the rule. As the caster, you would know this. So, is there anything that you would like to do to?
Retcon that.
If I can.
Kentucky looks at you and he's like, there is a passage this way. It's a little
Let's
bit,
go.
it's a little dangerous, but we can take it and pretty much not be seen.
Not be seen.
dangerous should I go?
And he kind of is leading you to the right, so he's leading you away from the actual mine at first. But he says there's basically it's a pass that was put in as like kind of like a back door to the actual town. It's not used very much.
And where would it take us to, Gent?
Well, it'll take you down to the edge of the bay. From there, we can cross over. The unseen servant could cross over the ice, but I mean, if the situation is that you have to be with it, then it looks like at least one person is going to be seen.
Diana, Callisto, what do you think?
Ooh. Krista?
I love Mr. Carrot Rope in chat. Step 2, everyone get into the cannon. Step 3, fire the cannon directly into a volcano. That's it.
Pretty much it.
Seems legit.
That's gnome planning for you right there. That's it. Sarvin's like, wait a minute, weren't you able to make yourself invisible or something?
I was just thinking that. I can make Molfin invisible.
Yeah.
If you already have the servant cast, and I make you invisible, you and the servant can go.
But it's also a dangerous path. So do you need like protection or?
Kentucky steps up. He's like, I'll take him.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't
Well, I have
trust
to
you.
go. I have to go with you.
Kentucky looks hurt.
Kentucky can stay hurt.
Well, actually, you're unseen servants for an hour, and so is invisibility. So I don't need to go with you. You can have the unseen servant with you. I cast invisibility on you, and you already give the servant its direction. So you're not casting or creating any sort of spell that will get you out of invisibility.
Agreed, Calista.
You're both invisible.
Let us do this. Oh, wait.
Okay.
If you cast invisibility on me, will it make the items I am holding invisible as well?
Yes.
Wolfen calls the servant back over, takes the tinder in the bag. Let us do it then.
We are not kamikazing this.
He's the
You
unseen
can
servant.
If I carry the items until we get closer, they will not have 2 floating items to see. They won't be able to see anything. Then all I do is hand the items and it runs a short distance.
That better be what you do, okay? Do not get yourself blown up.
Elf sauna.
Okay.
If I do this, we lose the direwolf. Keep that in mind. I have no backup plan.
At least she's being honest. There's no plan B here. This is it.
There's no plan B. This is it.
Plan B is you are on griffins.
Okay.
To quote a very old friend of mine, I will say, fly, you fools.
I feel like I read that in a book somewhere.
My friend was very famous.
Let's do this.
Oh.
When you guys are doing that, what are we doing?
I will send the direwolf to these giants for now, and then when I finally cast invisibility on you, the direwolf will disappear, and then you'll be invisible.
Beautiful.
Great. Let's do that. So I'm going to send the direwolf down to the 2 giants ahead of us.
Okay.
Below us.
Okay.
And then I'm going to follow Malfman and Kentucky through this passage, and then I'll cast invisibility on him.
Okay. Are you going to be walking with them, or are you going to be taking the griffin down with you?
I'll take the griffin down with us.
Okay.
So he's on the ground with us.
Okay.
And just keep doing my laser pointer to get him to follow.
Okay. So
Since
you
that's a cantrip.
you point in the direction of the mine area that leads down to where the docks are to your dire wolf.
And I say, find the giants. Kill them.
It just kind of looks at you and almost. Have you ever seen a dog try to smile? It looks like that, and it's just, and it takes off and starts. You can hear the crunching icy snow as it heads towards the edge. The edge isn't very far away, and you guys can start to hear kind of like the rumble of these giants making their way up. It's taken them quite a bit of time, though, because of the icy conditions. They're trying to scale up this. There's ramps there, but it's not a very good situation for them to be climbing up these mine areas, and they're built for smaller individuals too, not for giants. So it's taken them a little bit of time.
Calista, fast question before you leave. What are we doing while you guys are away? Are we running? Or are we directing people? Are we dealing with giants? What are we doing?
Sarvin's like, I don't know about you. He knocks an arrow into his longbow. I'm gonna put a couple of these into that giant down there.
Actually, that's a fair point. You guys should take the griffins and circle up.
Okay.
So they don't know where me and Malfin are.
Good point. Okay, distraction.
Or decoys?
Decoys, but stay above their range.
Okay, let's do that then.
Yes?
Yes.
We meet back.
I take flight.
We meet back at Dashara's.
Okay. I take
If
flight.
you see smoke and fire, go back to Dashara.
Okay.
And be careful. They seem to be able to throw those rather very great distance.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying stay up.
All right.
Are we sure that this is the right way to go?
There's
We're
no
absolutely
other. This is Plan
sure.
B. Unless you have a Plan C, I'd love to hear it.
Plan C is go to Hundlestone and raise an army?
Sure. When you guys go back, I will say when you guys go back to Dashara's, fly low away so they don't see you going in that direction.
Okay.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, Malcolm, let's go.
Diana, before you leave here, Malfin goes into pulls out a little bag. 4 doses of this left in here. Take out a very small pinch. If something happens, sprinkle it on yourself. Every time I've used it, the person has flown.
Are you certain that you won't need this?
You will be in the air. I will be on the ground.
Thank you. And I'll take it and I'll clutch it to my chest and get on my griffin and fly away.
You now have 4
Good
doses
luck.
of pixie dust.
So, you guys, Lachlan, Diana, and Dashara, all on griffins. Ashlyn also with Gizzard is in tow as well, as you guys are flying above. And you guys can see Sarvin and Jolin Orange Peel. The little halfling pulls out this little short bow. It looks looks like a very poor crafted piece of weaponry, Lachlan, as you see him pull this thing out.
Embarrassing.
It looks almost like those goblin short bows that you had a chance to see before. And they are heading towards the edge of the mine as you guys kind of fly over the edge. You can see that the giants have made their way about halfway up, and that's when you start to hear the growls and the barks of the dire wolf as it attacks the first giant that it sees. So, Christy, why don't you go ahead and roll for your dire wolf's attack, as it has successfully made it down. It seemed to slide a good bit of the way down these ramps, these icy ramps. And I'm going to go ahead and give us some music to get us ready for this.
Oh, and I was gonna say, Michael, could we have said that I said Pouchois with Lachlan?
Yeah, that's fine.
Puchwa, what do you say me and you make a break for it?
Nice.
I see how it is.
So as the dire wolf jumps towards the giant kind of struggling to keep its feet on these icy ramps, it kind of slips a little bit as the dire wolf goes to attack, and the jaws just snap a couple inches away from this frost giant. And you guys can all start to see down below the first frost giant that is engaged this dire wolf seems to be holding a spear in one hand with kind of like a bone carved point on the end, and has a large white beard that seems to have just icicles kind of wrapped around inside of it. And at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and roll an initiative order just to keep track of where everything is going. I think, let me take you guys over to this map that I've got set up.
Oh, great roll!
Because you'll be able to click on your tokens here in the top right corner. You should be able to click on those and roll your initiatives.
Man, one of these days I'll remember to set my initiative macro in here.
my first one count? Because technically I wasn't clicking the right token on the right map, so...
You're so sneaky.
And actually, Michael, one other question. At this point, as we're just starting,
Yeah.
I wanted to see if I could recommend anything. Would I be able to cast a spell before Lachlan got 100 feet away from me?
I will allow that, and I will also, since we're retconning that, I will allow Diana to re-roll her initiative.
Oh.
'Cause-
Hell yeah. You know, I'll never roll higher than a 19, ever. Unless I get an ability score increase.
Oh yeah, because that -1.
Yeah.
And you can change the name of
yeah, I'll
Pouchois
fix that
to
out.
from Boucher.
And as Lachlan starts to fly away and Molfin is walking away with Kentucky and Callista, muttering under his breath, you get sort of a thwap in the back of its head from Pouchois' tail.
Oh, wow.
And, a sort of burning sensation in the back of your throat.
Ah, Putra! What did I eat for my last meal? I feel like crud.
I think you ate some really hot, spicy chilies.
Let's see. Wow. Good old Sarvin rolling
Holy
good.
Sarvin.
My dude.
The king of the frozen fire.
He's a legend.
So what do you get? 19. How's that?
Do
I'm
I have
just
to
gonna-
roll for my unseen servant, or would I just assume he goes on my initiative?
He'll go on your initiative.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that Jolin Orange Peel is going to go on Sarvin's initiative count as well, since they're kind of sticking together. Just to make it a little bit easier for everybody to keep track of everything. And I'm just going to have, since Kentucky is with you, Molfin, I'm going to have him kind of go the same time that you go as well. So keep you guys together. Make it easier since we've got kind of like two things going on here.
Right.
All right. So, after the dire wolf gets a chance to go after this frost giant and misses, Sarvin reaches the edge and fires 2 arrows down towards the first frost giant. It's maybe about 120 feet down from where he's standing. So he's going to take these 2 longbow attacks as they come zinging down.
Oh, wait, no.
And you guys watch as Sarvin just launches an arrow down, and you see it pierce the armor of the frost giant, sticking into its shoulder. And then the other area, almost like rapid fire, he's able to load these in and fires another one down. You can see, Lachlan, you're actually pretty impressed with his accuracy. And too, by your experience, that it always helps when you're the one standing on top of the cliff. So he gets some good shots in, and the first one does 10 piercing damage. This is for another 10 piercing damage as he sinks 2 arrows into this first frost giant.
Sarvin, what a man.
Your Majesty, incredible.
What a man, what a man.
You just hear him. He's just like, "Ha! Take that!" Ha! And then Jolin steps up, and he's kind of like shaking and can barely hold this little short bow, and reaches back and just goes, and just lets the thing go. And I'm going to have to roll standard for him. It rolls a natural 20. Oh, my goodness. For 9 piercing damage as he launches this. Lachlan, you can see as he just like pushes forward. Surprisingly, the arrow goes incredibly straight and strikes the giant like right in the face with this short bow arrow.
Wow.
I had no idea who we were rolling with.
Yeah.
king of the frozen Amazons.
That's it. And that brings us to Diana's turn.
Goodness, okay. I'm flying as far away as I can. Not as far away. As high as I can. And, but still, like, within, outside of their range. But, like, you know, around. And, there's nothing really that I can do. Lachlan, if you want to fly near me on your turn, I can hold an action and cast resistance on you for my action, and you will, what is it? Once before the spell ends, the target can roll a d4 and add the number to a saving throw of your choice. So if you have to make a dex save, if you get a boulder thrown at you, you can add a d4 to it.
Sweet.
How about save a healing spell for me?
Oh, that's not even a spell. That's a cantrip.
Oh, sweet.
I can do that as many times as I want to.
Nice.
I'm feeling pretty lucky right now.
I'm gonna give you a. Who else is with us? Is Ashlyn with us?
Ashlyn is with you. Yeah.
I'll give that to Ashlyn.
I need to add her to the initiative order too. Let's go ahead and add her. I forgot about putting her on there.
But
Ashlyn.
yeah, I guess I'll get closer to Ashlyn and give that gift to her, and that's my turn. I don't really have anything else to do. I just stay out of range of the giants as much as I can.
Okay. So you're getting closer to Ashlyn?
Yeah, to give her this spell.
Okay, so you actually you're like not really far away from her at all. So you kind of guide your griffin over towards where she's kind of flying on the back of Gizzard. Rest your hand on there. Just say a quick prayer, and Ashlyn kind of gives you a strange look at first, but then smiles afterwards. She realizes what's going on. And that's it for your turn. You still technically have a little bit of movement left if you want to. I mean, your griffin has 80 feet of movement. You probably only used about 20.
I'm a fly higher.
Okay, fly higher. So Diana takes off high into the air. And what we're going to do is last time I had it in descending order, it had Callista, then Pushwa, then the Frost Giants. So that's the order I want to do it in. So Callista, you get to go ahead first on this turn.
Okay, well, I'm following Kentucky, right?
Yeah. Kentucky.
Okay.
Kentucky just kind of starts to lead you guys. He's like, "Oh, this way. It's right through here."
Okay.
And he starts pointing over towards a little area of a little bit more dense foliage. Some old, I guess, dead, bushes and shrubs over in the corner. A couple dead trees over along the side near the coastline that he's headed towards.
Okay, well, I guess we'll be stealthing towards the harbor.
Okay.
And also, while we're going, I'm letting Malfin know that once I get him invisible and he puts the boat on fire, once he comes back to us, I'm going to cast Pass Without a Trace, and we're booking it.
Okay.
Good? Okay.
That's looks like it appeases Molfin. Puchwa.
How far is Lachlan from... is Molfin more than 100 feet from Puchwa at this point?
Not yet.
So after that being... Molfin will just have Puchwa focus on whichever giant Lachlan seems to be looking at, and basically fly down and get in its face. Take the help action in front of one of them.
All right. Lachlan, which one are you eyeing? You're eyeing the one that's closer to you guys, or the one that's kind of coming up behind? As you look down, the one that's closer you can see is holding a spear and has some just tattered armor that's wearing. The one a little bit below, maybe one level down on the mine, kind of looking up, seeing all this stuff take place. It looks like he's wearing this like tattered white dragon hide that he's kind of looks like he has sewn all together in interesting ways. And the bird has seemed to have come back down to rest on his shoulder, and now it's blackened in the front from from where it received that firebolt to the face.
Already.
And he has this. It looks like a straight ZZ Top white beard. It kind of hangs down like to his belly, and he's got this large metal helm that kind of comes down over his eyes, and it has these these circles carved out where his eyes are. It's kind of like it looks like these little like glasses that are underneath the helm, attached to it.
Alrighty.
God, he's a warrior from Elbaf.
Okay.
Yeah, Poochwa, that's the one, that guy.
Okay, so Poochwa is going to actually start fluttering, as in his normal Poochwa way, kind of like all over the place. He's like going back and forth. Sorry, head. How far can Poochwa move? Is it like 60 feet or?
60 feet, yeah.
Okay, so he's now within about. He's actually within 60 feet of the giant itself as he's fluttering down. He gets down maybe one or two of these levels, going down in this mine area.
Poochwa will dash, go the full distance.
All right, Poochwa dashes, goes even faster. Skitter and scatter, and gets down to the face and of this frost giant. Starts like just flapping its bat-like wings around the front of the face as the dire wolf is trying to gnaw into it. The frost giant is going to go, and it's going to make 2 spear attacks against the dire wolf in front of it. The first one, as it goes to attack, the dire wolf actually the Poochwa smacks it in the eyeball with its tail as it's fluttering around, and it jabs the spear into the side of the cliff face, and then it goes to kind of tries to swat Poochwa away and takes the spear and tries to attack again, and I think a 19 is good enough to hit. Is that right?
Direwolf, yeah.
Yeah. So this time the spear, as he drives it down towards the direwolf, it hits home, and.
I need my notebook. Gotta make crap.
21 points of piercing damage as the spear is driven down into the back of the direwolf, and with a howl of pain. With a howl of pain, you guys can all hear the direwolf scream out, and at that point, the frost giant behind continues to use its movement to start heading back up, but he can't really get to where the action is because there isn't enough space for them to negotiate here. So he actually he's just got his great axe ready in his hand, and you can see that he's looking around. It's almost like he's looking for anything that he can pick up to be able to toss or throw, and really there isn't anything around where he's standing right this second. He's looking all around. He can start to see some things in other areas, but they're just a little bit too far away from him that he can't reach. And those are the only 2 frost giants that are really acting at this point. So that brings us to Molfin.
I think you're muted.
Yep, still
Thank
muted.
you. Tends to happen. So, MG got booted. Bad hammer. Yes, Twitch chat is extremely entertaining this evening.
Oh yeah,
and
always.
Wolfen is just going to full dash action, following Kentucky to wherever he's leading.
Okay.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, you can see Kentucky is trying to go with some haste, but he's also being cautious as he's leading you down. This is it's not a very well. It's not a good path that people usually walk on, so it takes a little while. It's rocky in some points. It's icy. It's challenging, but it doesn't seem to be extremely dangerous at this point as you guys are heading down. The first couple of 100 feet doesn't seem to be that bad. There seems to be a lot of handhelds. You can see that there used to be some like railings, wooden railings that used to like stand alongside the edge of this cliffside where it's kind of leading down. But over time, some of this stuff has just fallen apart. They were wooden railings with maybe like a hempen rope that kind of went between them where people could hold on to. But now some of it seems to be like broken and tattered and worn away. But the top of it here doesn't seem to be bad. You guys are able to head on down, and I'm assuming that Callista, Kentucky, Molfin, and your unseen servant, and Malik, heading on down. Callista, are you kind of on the back of Malik? Like, is he on the ground, or is he kind of like fluttering up above?
Yeah, I'll be riding him for the moment.
Okay.
And I'm just dancing lights and laser pointing him where I need him to be.
Okay. All right. What would Ashlyn be doing at this point? What do you guys think?
Oh boy.
Does she have any ranged attacks?
She does have a longbow.
Awesome bow, right?
Yeah, let her do that.
Yeah. So she's going to go ahead and take her shots at the front frost giant. So she's going to go ahead and take these 2 longbow shots as she shoots down towards. And I think longbow has a really good range too. Oh yeah,
150.
Definitely within range. So yeah, as you see her kind of like floating on the back of Gizzard, you can see Gizzard is kind of looking all around. Gizzard has an intensity in his eyes right now as they're flying around, and these 2 longbow shots, you can see that they just disappear over the cliffside and strike the giant. The first one dealing 7 points, second one dealing 13 as they strike the giant. That front giant has got arrows sticking out of him like crazy now, as he's getting rained on by arrows from above. And that will bring us to Lachlan.
All right. Do I have any idea what spell Molfin has cast on me, or like what, or do I just feel indigestion?
What was that again?
Sure. Would I have a sense of what Molfin has done to me, or do I legitimately just feel indigestion?
You've seen it before, so you'd probably have an idea of what it is.
If that eagle comes up on you, you know what to do.
Yeah. Well, actually, then I'm gonna dive bomb the giant with the eagle.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
And
this is not what I said, but okay.
I want to be careful of Putra.
Okay. So you're about 120 feet above him.
Okay, so I guess I do 80,
you can
and then I could go another. I want to get within 15 feet using my cunning action, my dash.
Okay. Sure.
And then when I'm within 15, I want to try to aim to get the bird and the giant while sparing poor Putra. I don't know if I can only hit the giant.
Yeah, Pushwa's flying around the other one, so he's not flying
the other
around.
one.
Yeah, you're going for the one that's a little bit lower, probably about 20 feet lower than the front.
Okay.
One. Yeah.
I'm gonna then try to roast them. I think they have to make a saving throw.
I think so. What's
Yeah, it's a dexterity save. Let me re-click it.
Ooh, dexterity save, huh?
I think. Let me double check. Come on, Dragon Breath Lachlan. There we go. Yep, dexterity save or 3d6.
Okay. The giant made his save, but the eagle fails.
So then I roll 3. Do I roll the 3d6?
Yeah, yep. You can roll 3d6.
Okay.
Oh, it's half,
sure
right?
wouldn't be me. Not great, not bad though.
Yeah.
So, what kind of breath are you breathing, Lachlan? And can you describe what this looks like to us?
I think he inspired me with dragon breath, or not, with like fire breath, right? So I guess I sort of pick up and then just like, whoo, and like spew this massive swirling gob of flame that just engulfs these.
Totally an anime moment.
Yeah. And as you do so, you can see that the frost giant is able to kind of backpedal just the slightest bit, only catching a little bit of the flame, but you can hear the terrible squawks of the eagle as it's completely engulfed on the shoulder of this. And as the giant kind of slides back the icy ramp, once the shoulder of this giant and the eagle completely come out of your flame breath, there are no feathers on the eagle at all, and the eagle just falls off of its shoulder and disappears off of the cliffside.
Dinner time! And by the way, I would just like to say, when I next see Moby, I am murdering him. ZZ Top is still relevant, you son of a bitch. Sorry to interrupt.
And at that point, you see the giant look down at the bird falling and immediately looks up at Lachlan with this rage in his eyes. And just starts just saying all these words in giant towards you. And anybody who can understand giant, basically it's the worst cussing towards Lachlan that you guys have heard.
Fly away, you still have movement.
And then
What did those idiots do?
Use my remaining movement here. I think I probably have about like 55 feet left or something. I think, if I did the math right.
Yeah.
To just kind of, grab onto Solana here and then fly back up as far away from these guys as I can.
Okay, so you're able to get up, I think it's like 60, it'd be around 60 feet above where they are located. Yeah. All right. Cool. That brings us to Diana.
Lachlan, you good? Are you good? Are you injured?
Yeah, he's a little bit below you, but he's kind of giving you a thumbs up.
I'm okay for now.
Well,
I don't think that one guy likes me.
Since resistance is not concentration, I'll fly down and I'll give him some resistance.
All right. So you fly down about 40 feet, and you still have about 40 more feet of movement.
Never mind, it is concentration. I did not see that.
Oh yeah.
Back up.
Rewind.
Rewind. I don't think that there's really anything else for me to do. I just floating.
Just be there for the healing.
Holding an action.
Okay. We go to Sarvin, King of the Frozen Far. Looks up at Diana. What are you doing? And he takes 2 more shots down at the front one, just firing these arrows down. Just rapid fire. He calls out, Lachlan, I bet you I could put this one's eye out.
Try it.
Here it goes.
Oh.
And he fires 2 shots. Ah! You see? Didn't I tell you?
Plucked it right out.
Unfortunately, the first one went wide.
But the crit, though.
For 16 points as it strikes him. Didn't quite hit him in the eye, but he got him. He got him kind of in the neck area as he's firing down on him. And
Nice shot.
oh yeah, that one felt good. This first frost giant is not looking like he's in very good shape. And Jolin, nervously taking his short bow, fires another shot down as well. Ah, boy. You see him as he fires, he almost slips and falls as the arrow looses and just it rattles about 10 feet off of the side of the cliff face, and just the arrow breaks apart. He rolled a natural 1.
Watch out down there.
Whoa! Oh my goodness! kind of looks around. He's doing that thing where he hopes nobody saw that. And that brings us up to Diane. Why is Diane on here twice? Oh, I never got rid of her 4. So, Diana, you technically already took your turn. You were supposed to go second, but you were in the turn order twice. Cool. Then we go to Callista.
Yep, I'm just trying to get us as close to the edge of the harbor without going into like the open space. Like we still want to be in the foliage before I cast invisibility on them.
Okay, yeah, you guys still got quite a distance to walk down this. It's kind of like this path is leading back and forth down a cliffside, basically, and you guys are just trying to quickly and carefully go down it the best that you can.
Dash action while being careful.
Okay, gotcha. Poochwa.
Well, real quick, is the direwolf dead?
Not
yet.
Oh, I forgot about the direwolf. Yeah, I forgot he's on there. Go ahead. He can make an attack if you'd like to roll for your attack on the first frost giant as well.
Yep. Come on, buddy.
I'm going, wait a minute, I forgot that's not on the initiative.
Well, he's on mine. There we go.
Oh, yeah. That will definitely bite into him. Go ahead and roll your damage. As the direwolf leaps up, clamps its jaws on its forearm. Well, yeah, forearm as it's trying to attack it with a spear.
There we go.
So for 10 points. Nice. Now blood starts to run down to the hand of the giant onto his spear. And Poochwa.
Okay, now we're dealing with Poochwa here. So Poochwa is still right now. Poochwa's in front of which one?
The one in the front that everybody's kind of attacking. And kind of the one that's basically got arrows sticking all out of its shoulders. It's now got a giant chunk taking out of its forearm from the direwolf.
Oh, okay. We'll just have him stick with that same one. Take the help action.
Okay. And flying around. All right.
Take the help, distract it a little bit so somebody gets advantage on their next poke at it.
Well, what I've been doing is I've been rolling disadvantage on his attacks because of the Poochwa being all around. So he's going to go ahead and he's going to also try to he's going to keep going after that dire wolf in front of him because the wolf is a very large creature stopping his progress. So he's going to try to take 2 more spear attacks. A 14, will a 14 hit?
Just barely.
It does hit.
Yep.
So that strikes the wolf for
Bad wolfie.
14 points of piercing damage.
Oh, he's still up.
He's still up. All right.
Wow.
So he drives the spear in and pulls it back out and comes back for another swing. Tries to bring it down. Oh, he rolled the same number, a 14.
Oh, bye, Wolfie.
It's a good thing it was disadvantaged because the other one was a natural 20.
Well, now he's used his actions. That's fine.
So that's 21 points of piercing damage on the second one.
Gone. He had 2 left.
So as you guys hear another yelp, all of a sudden you see...
I feel the spell drop.
You
so
feel
I know
the
what's
spell
happening.
drop. You guys can see it's almost like just a bunch of particles of purple light just dissipate from the dire wolf, and then they disappear as they separate from each other.
So
and then
pretty.
he's no more. The other one that was kind of mocking towards Lachlan, like, looks behind him and he sees another ramp about 60 feet behind that leads off another direction that's able to get up higher. So he starts to head on in that direction with a little bit of haste. He's kind of like slipping a little bit along the cliffside as he's making his way over there. But every about 20 feet he looks back and he looks up towards Lachlan. And that, and I'm assuming Molfin is continuing to dash and head on down. Anything else that you would be doing?
No, just trying to get there as quick. Are we in line of sight of these 3? Like, can they see where we are?
No, you guys are kind of like completely off in another. They're coming up a cliff face, and you guys are kind of like wrapped around on the other side of the cliff. So
we're purposely trying to hide.
Yeah. You guys aren't. They can't see you. you guys can't even see the battle taking place. Like, you guys are completely like on an opposite side. All you can see is you can see down to where the ice starts to kind of cover the bay a little bit, and you can just see the back of the longship. Like, you can't even see all of it as you guys are headed down.
And how far away is it?
It's way far away. I mean, we're talking several hundred feet. Way far away. It's going to take a little while to get there.
Yep.
I mean,
Just keep trudging
I
on.
know.
if you're confident that your friends are okay, then you just keep on trudging.
I did tell them to fly high and get away if they need to, so hopefully they take my advice.
All right. Ashlyn is, I guess, going to continue to take some longbow shots down at the first frost giant, and she launches these 2 arrows and hopes to strike down. And both of these are going to miss as they kind of just ricochet off of the side of the cliff where they're standing. I guess the direwolf bursting apart and all these miraculous little particle glowing lights kind of distracted her for just the slightest amount of time. She missed those shots. She continues to kind of fly around. Yeah, you know what? Dashara is going to go ahead. She's going to strike down with a... I'm going to have her go on Ashlyn's turn since I forgot to add her to the initiative order. Her shot, unfortunately, is going to miss as well, as her crossbow flings wide and deflects off the side of the cliff face as well. That brings us to Lachlan.
How far away did my friend get from me?
He's gotten about 80 feet away in the opposite direction, but he's starting to climb another ramp. Because the ramp leads to another level above where this giant is, and he can turn around and he can come back. He's trying to think of the best way to get higher to you.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll move my griffin 80 feet to, kind of close that distance a little bit. And while I'm moving, I want to yell to Sarvin, "Hey, Sarvin, look at me! I'm a And and I guess let's see, 80 will get me. Oh, what?
Oh, stop showing off!
And then I'll so 80 will get me kind of closing some of the distance, and I'm probably still. I guess just.
Yeah, you were about 60 feet away from him to start, and then he added about 80. So you're about that 60 again.
All right, then I'll go another 45 there. Get close enough.
Yeah, you kind of creep up behind him, like he's going up this ramp, and you're kind of creeping up behind him quickly.
Yeah. And I guess he's got to save against fire as I take a deep breath and.
And he will fail.
Oh.
3d6.
Oh, look at that.
That's some nice damage, Lachlan.
That is.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lachlan just breathes, exhales another massive cone of this yellow, orange, and red flame. So it just completely just impacts the frost giant's back. You can hear him just groan in pain as he just turns his head back around to see you there again, Lachlan, and just continues to swear in giant at you and pointing his finger at you as you're kind of just like fluttering about 15 feet away from him on the back of the griffin.
Yeah. And I think I probably have, 35 feet left to try to get a little bit away from him?
Yeah.
And I panic a little bit at how close I am as I end my turn.
Okay. Excellent.
Oh crap, oh, what have I done?
That brings us back to Sarvin. Who kind of looks at you and is like, huh, I've been able to breathe like that since I was little. And he takes and he shoots two more arrows and fires them down at the front giant again as these longbows come flying.
Ooh.
And he kind of gets frustrated after the first one misses, then makes a decent impact on the second one, dealing 7 points of damage. And you guys can see that the frost giant continues to weaken. With all these arrows and crossbow bolts and everything sticking out of him. Jolin takes a shot as well, trying to shoot down at the giant. And unfortunately, he misses as the giant's just able to dodge the attack. That brings us to Diana.
The only thing that I have would put me within 60 feet of them, and I don't know how comfortable I feel with that. Has anyone taken damage? Are you guys... Lachlan or anybody? No? Okay.
I don't think so.
Then I hold my turn
Yeah,
and I do nothing.
Okay.
Atta girl.
Did you want to like
I just
prepare something,
fly.
or you're just flying around up there with Dashara?
I'll prepare a sacred flame if anybody gets trifling.
Okay,
You know?
gotcha.
That's what I
Excellent.
got. I'll prepare to fly down and hit him with a sacred flame.
Okay. Callista still continuing to run with Kentucky.
Yep.
Okay, you guys are still heading down. And Puchwa is still continuing to work on the same giant, or...
Actually, how far is the other giant? Where's Lachlan?
They're about 80 feet away.
No, Boutro's going to stay where he is. Molfin wouldn't be able to talk to him, so he's just going to keep harrowing. He's been working on it until that one's not a problem anymore.
Okay. So the frost giants are going to go. The first one is going to try to swipe Puchwa out of his face with disadvantage.
This is not going to be pretty.
He rolls a 20.
Yeah, that's definitely going to hit.
Oh no.
So basically, he just uses the blunt end of the spear to just like swipe at Puchwa and connects
Like
to
T-ball.
Puchwa. Yeah, basically. 21 points of bludgeoning damage to Puchwa.
There is just a small poof of blood and flying snake bits. As that is 4 times which was held.
Oh my goodness! So Puchwa disappears into a fine red mist as the back end of the spear just slams into him.
He's a good little guy.
And as Callista notices, all of a sudden Molfin is just...
I think Callista knows what happened because I felt my dire will go too, so I was like, I'll just pat him on the shoulder like it's okay.
And he continues to run up this ramp, trying to see how close he can get. He's looking around for anything that he might be able to use, as he has a spear, but he's not sure he can quite get close enough to make an accurate shot, so he's not going to bother that right now. The other frost giant looks over towards Lachlan, is able to move about 20 feet up there, and he finds what looks like to be this an old cart of some sort that they use for mining, and he grabs a hold of it and he just whips it towards Lachlan as hard as he can.
Oh my god! Stay high!
Unfortunately, he is about 80 feet away because he had to go 20 feet away, so this will be with a disadvantage as he throws this. He rolls a 12.
He had to hit a 15 to get me.
So So this you are shocked as this wooden cart just goes flying through the air, but as it's coming towards you, you can see it. It's got good accuracy, and all of a sudden it starts to just droop, and it goes right underneath you and the griffin, and you see it disappear down the cliffside and crash down onto one of the stone docks several hundred feet below.
I might need to change pants. Remind me to buy some more after we free this town.
And that brings us to Mulfin, who I'm assuming is continuing with the group.
Just mad dashing for the boat.
Okay, yeah, you guys are still kind of continuing to go down. It's going to take it's going to take a while. Ashlyn is continuing to rain down these shots with the longbow. And here comes 2 arrows down to that first frost giant who continues to head on out. And those are both going to strike. One for 9 piercing and the other one for 11. So 20 points drives down onto the frost giant. And he seems like he's just kind of slouched in his stance now, as he's just got arrows sticking all out of him that have pierced his armor. Just looks like a porcupine right now of all these arrows sticking out of his shoulders and back. Deshara takes a shot and rolls a natural 1. So she doesn't even come close to striking the giant. And that brings us to Lachlan.
Alrighty.
Just watched a wooden mine cart just get totally tossed underneath you.
I want to take a moment, catch my breath, kind of be thankful for my life. And then fly up and close the distance to spray this dude with some fire again.
All right. How long does this spell last?
10 rounds.
10 rounds. So he's just
round.
flying in and flying out, flying in.
Yep.
It's like
The way a dragon.
It's like
fight.
like a dragon, like just taking out a town, you know.
Never get melee range, you know.
It's brilliant.
So I guess this guy has to save.
Yep, he has to save. Is a 15 good enough to do it?
Nope.
Oh,
16 for me.
16. Oh, he rolled a 16, but he has a -1 to that save.
Oh.
So this fire erupts once again, engulfing the frost giant. And with every one of these, Lachlan, he is just getting more angry and just absolutely just almost like throwing a huge temper tantrum, like just all these giant cuss words just flowing from his mouth, naturally just free flowing. As he's now got these scorch marks, his skin is boiling in some of these parts. You've got some of his white dragon hide armor is like, you can see little flames like still like shimmering on the armor. Are you flying back away?
I want to fly up. I want to try to get a fair amount above him, so that as he ascends, I'll be in perhaps an advantageous position.
Okay, so you were about 80 feet away. You came into about 15 feet.
Okay.
Okay. So how much movement did you have left for that?
My dash. Because it's wait.
So that would lead 15 for the griffin, and then cunning action.
Yeah.
Right. So I think I probably want to get get what, like a fair amount above him, right?
Yeah, it'd be 80 for the action, right? Plus another 15.
Yeah.
So like 95.
95.
I'll just
above
go
him?
about 80. Yeah, I'll go about 95 above him. That sounds about right.
All right. He just watches you as you flutter back up. He tries to take like a swing at you with his great axe, but you're just still too far away, and you just flutter right up top.
Ran out of carts, huh?
Oh my god!
You see him just go. You see him go. He looks at you as you're flying up, and he starts to take his helmet off, and he's holding it in his hand.
Oh no!
Oh my god, he's getting desperate.
Lachlan's going to get hit and nailed for like 40 damage.
Wow.
Giant dragon
When I
hide.
fall, how high am I above the ground? I'm like 200 feet above the ground or something.
Yeah, you're pretty far up there. there are ledges that you could land on the cliffside, so that's a positive.
Oh, well, that's good.
But you're still at 95 feet above this ledge, so
90-10.
90-10. There's Sarvin takes 2 more shots. Lachlan the Legendary, trying to be a dragonborn. This is hilarious. And he fires.
I'm inspired by the greats, Sarvin. Inspired by the greats.
And he
Oh
crits
my God,
again. Sarvin, this time he does hit the giant in the eye. It's like, oh, you see, I told you. And does 13 points of piercing damage as he takes a shot and sticks one right into this giant's eye. The giant just reaches up and grabs his face and just, oh! And just starts to kind of teeter back a little bit. Does not look like he's in good shape at all. Jolin takes a shot down, and he just barely misses as the giant is teetering back. His short bow shot just hits the ground in front of the giant. And that brings us to Diana, who is continuing to kind of flutter above.
I'm sorry. We've been discussing passports, and I've been very invested in that conversation. Is anyone hurt?
Nope.
Yes, there's a couple of giants that are badly injured.
That's exactly what we want.
Diana, go ahead and make a free perception check for me while you're fluttering around up there.
Oh boy. Oh
Yeah,
boy, oh
yeah.
boy. And it's with disadvantage because I'm tired.
Yes, you are tired.
Oh, not bad.
Hey, you notice
Matter.
the giant that was down on the docks has grabbed his weapon and he's making his way towards the ramps as well.
Ramps, as in like where I know Callista and Molfin would be?
No, as in like heading up towards where you guys are. Seeing the commotion
Okay.
take place, he's stopped loading the bags full of the goods, and he is coming up, weapon in hand. Looks like he's holding 2 hand axes, one in each of his hands.
Okay. Mild panic, but that's what we want. Because we want them away from Callista and Molfin. So, I don't know. How far away are the giants that are very injured here?
The giant that's pretty injured is about 100 feet down from you. So you could get within 20
Okay.
feet of him on the back of the griffin.
We not doing that one. I'm gonna get within 60 feet of him
Okay.
and cast Sacred Flame.
Oh, a dexterity save.
There you go.
Let's see.
You've been hearing how well Lachlan's been doing with deck saves.
What's it, a 15? Unfortunately, he's got a 16. So so the flames erupt, but they erupt immediately right next to him as he is still trying to recover from the arrow to the eye.
That's cool. And then I run.
And then you fly back up. Flying back up. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Out
right.
of range.
All right. The giants go. The front one starts to run, and he grabs a large rock from the side of the cliff face, kind of almost he pulls it out of the cliff, and just you can hear it like crumple out, and he whips it up towards Sarvin and Jolin, standing alongside it. They're still a little bit out of range, so it's going to be a disadvantage. Let me double check and see what Sarvin's armor class is.
Oh no!
That's not a good sign.
Yeah, he is going to get this one. So, Jolin, you see him just kind of just roll out of the way as this boulder comes flying up. And Sarvin gets slammed with this
no.
boulder.
No.
Oh my goodness, it's bad.
No.
Little halfling hobbit, barely able to walk guy, doesn't get hit and Sarvin does?
Well, he was aiming for Sarvin, and it's only
Oh.
one target. Wow, he rolled very poorly.
Whew.
21 points of bludgeoning damage to Sarvin. And you guys, you can hear the groans of Sarvin as the boulder like bounces off of him, and he's on one knee, and you can see like he's got blood like coming out of his mouth now. He is not looking very good at all. He still has his longbow kind of on the ground, like he's leaning his weight on his longbow. I think I'll be all right. And the other frost giant takes his helmet, looking up towards Lachlan, and just pulls it back down as far as he can and throws it as hard as he can up towards Lachlan. This is going to be with disadvantage.
All right. Gotta get a 15.
He's got to get a 15. He gets a 19. With disadvantage. So since this is what's an improvised weapon? What's improvised weapon damage usually?
Well, I mean,
1d4.
usually it's like a chair
Usually.
or like
Yeah,
a,
but
Yeah.
like a bucket.
giant weapons are always tripled. So we'll do three.
that-
We'll do a 3d4 plus his strength modifier.
Oh.
Strike modifier is going to be like 900.
You take
Yeah.
11 points of bludgeoning damage, Lachlan, as
I'm gonna
the
use my cunning action. No, not my cunning action. My uncanny dodge to half it.
All right, you're going to take half that damage as you're able to kind of contort your body just a little bit, seeing the helmet come up, and it slams into you, and you're able to kind of keep hold of the griffin. Yeah, it sounds like this very large bell as it hits you. It's like, dong! And then it starts to fall back down.
Watch out down there, guys!
Does it land on the giant's head?
Go ahead and
That would
Lachlan, roll a D100 for me. We'll make it a percent. We'll make it a percentage. It actually falls down, and you see it like slam onto one of the ramps, and then it starts to just like rattle down the cliffside, basically going all the way down to where the docks are. The giant just watches it rolls down, and he starts to question his thinking. Callista and Molfin still trudging down?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You
Looking
guys,
over Callista, though.
you guys are probably about halfway down the cliff face right now as you guys are approaching.
Okay.
You're starting to see a little bit more of the long ship, and you can see that there are giants aboard. It looks like some of them are just kind of moving around. Some of them are, looks like they're just kind of just waiting.
Molfin will look over at Callista as we're going down. Did you hear that strange? It was as if someone was ringing a bell.
Well, hopefully they're not in too much trouble and they'll leave if they need to leave.
Well, is it worth it for you to cast the spell on me now and see if they need aid? With the griffin can get there faster than I can.
No, I don't want to leave you alone.
Well, I have Kentucky and I have my unseen servant. I won't be getting close. They are the ones in direct danger, not us.
And there's how many giants in front of you?
Yes, but they will not be able to see me.
But they could hear you?
Yes,
But by the time you get up there and assist them, I have short legs. I will not be at the boat at that point.
elf, and what are you doing?
As I have said to Diana, elf's honor.
You're not an elf.
No, but you are. You don't trust gnomes.
I'll go a little bit farther with you. I'll think about it.
Something should happen to them.
As you guys were having this conversation, Ashlyn put another longbow shot into the front giant. The giant is on one knee, looking very tattered and just beat. All these arrows sticking out of it. One out of its eye from Sarvin's shot. Deshara took a shot, but she was unable to connect as she's just having a lot of trouble being able to aim down at these things. The wind from the sides of the cliff seemed to be blowing the shots and the crossbow bolts around. And that brings us to Lachlan.
All right. I think I'm about 95 feet above this guy.
Yeah, and you just got hit by his helmet.
Yeah, I just got. Oh, that hurts. Nevertheless, I'm going to try to shake off the pain a little bit and go for another swoop attack, sort of using my movement to get down within 15.
Gotcha.
Breathe on him, and then use my cunning action to dart back up.
He sees you coming, and he starts to kind of take his hands and put them over his head because he's
mercilessly. I just
and then torches again, and he will take the brunt of all the damage as he does not make the save. It takes 11 more points of damage.
Man, Grants has some really cool tricks up his sleeve.
And then as you kind of swoop over top again, he tries to take a swing at you, but you're just 15, you're too far away out of his reach.
That one was a little too close for comfort. Wonder if anybody's going to come help me.
He makes a dexterity saving throw to try to keep his footing on the slippy ramp, and he's able to do so.
Oh. Fair enough. And turn.
This is the most damage I've done in a while, and it's not even me doing
It's not even you doing it, yeah. Sarvin regroups, gets himself back up, knocks another arrow. Kind of whispers under his breath, I can't let Lachlan have all the fun. And he fires 2 more longbows at the same giant he's been working on. And the first one will strike. And as the arrow sinks into the armor of this giant, you guys watch as the giant just starts to teeter and then fall off of the ledge on the side of this cliff and just start to go, and you can see he kind of starts to fall for a little bit, then smashes into one of the ramps, kind of breaks the stone away from the ramp, and continues to kind of roll down the edge of the cliff all the way down to about where the docks are, slamming onto the icy face of where the water would be. Surprisingly enough, the ice is so thick that when the giant hits it, he just kind of embeds into the ice and just sitting there. It cracks the ice a little bit, but it doesn't break it completely apart. You can't see any of the water there at all. It just slams into the ice. And the first frost giant has been defeated. Jolin tries to take a pitiful shot at the other one who is way out of range, and the arrow doesn't even come close. Diana, you saw the first giant fall from the cliff face, lifeless, and smash into the ice below.
Locked and hit, right?
Lachlan, Lachlan got hit. Sarvin's looking pretty bad as well.
Lachlan, how bad are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing great over here. Absolutely great.
You hear more?
No. I'm doubtful. Lachlan, how bad are you?
Visibly, I don't know if you could see. I look like a little beat up. But
Diana, you understand giant, right?
Yes.
Yeah, basically you can hear a bunch of cuss words, in the midst of all him yelling this back in giant, and you hear stuff like, "Oh, I'm gonna eat you alive and enjoy every bite.
Oh no!
I'm going to chew.
Oh, no,
I'm gonna
no.
chew. I'm gonna chew on you slowly." And stuff
Oh,
like
no.
that. As he
Oh
is
my
inside,
God.
as he's yelling up to Lachlan. You scrumptious
Are you-
morsel, I will eat you.
Scrumptious morsel.
flirting or
Lachlan even picking up the giants. Crossing cross species, man. That's never mind genders.
I mean, this
Interracial.
giant is outraged. He's just like, whatever comes to his mind, that's all he's just like saying.
yeah, is anybody would you call anybody bad enough to use my last healing spell? Not at all.
Sarvin sounded like he's pretty rough.
It's true.
Sarvin's roughing
I
it.
don't I don't mean to sound malicious, but he's not a party member.
That's why I said if you don't have any spells left, I would save it if you unless you absolutely need it.
Yeah, I'm
If you're pretty tapped out.
hang on a second here. I need to look up the range on something. I believe my channel divinity is the range is 30 feet, I believe. Yeah, 30 feet. I don't want to get that close. Hold my action.
All
I
right.
continue to roll.
You know,
I'll stay a little bit closer to Lachlan. Has Ashlyn taken any damage?
Ashland's been kind of just taking shots from up, like, kind of just circling around about 100 feet above with Deshara. They're just kind of like firing down, just raining down these arrows.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna yell at Lachlan to get his butt up here and stop getting into all this trouble. And I'm gonna keep circling.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right away.
I'm gonna yell back at the giant, okay? Back off. That's my homeboy. He can't do that. You'll eat us, we'll eat you. We'll eat you. And you know what? It'll taste better.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
There.
He just like now that he hears you like speaking to him in giant, he's like, well, after I have my appetizer, I'll eat you next.
That's not gonna happen. Boy.
And Callista and Molfin still headed down. You guys got about
And
I'm gonna say about 2 more turns until you
Okay.
reach the bottom with Kentucky and the
I don't
Griffin.
want to lose concentration on invisibility and risk that because if I wild shape and get hit, there's a good possibility you'll be exposed. So no, I'm coming with you.
Okay. All right. So the frost giants. You can see that the one that was down by the docks is starting to trudge up, but he's kind of trudging up these ramps slowly. You guys are about on like I would say the one is on like the 5th level. There's like about 6 levels here. One is about the 5th level up near the top, and this one only has gotten to about the 2nd level right now during this mine as he's kind of trudging up. So he's going to use most of his action to just kind of get as far up as he can. The other one that's been kind of cussing at Lachlan. Lachlan, how far are you away from this guy again? What was your total speed that you moved away from him?
Am I about 80 feet from him?
Yeah, it'd be about 80. Yeah, okay.
I think so.
He can move. He's gonna. You're right above him, right? Is that what you're doing?
Above, yeah.
Okay.
So if he were to ascend, he'd.
So yeah. So he moves about 40 feet to the left as he's looking for the final ramp that he can move to get up to the top where you guys were originally, basically. And on his way, he's kind of just like he grabs another piece of rock that he finds, and he turns and he tries to whip it at you, and throws it up.
All right.
So he's about 80, and he moved 40 away, so it's going to be disadvantage for sure. As he tries to throw this boulder towards you. And he rolls a 16 on disadvantage.
That hit.
That is
That
going to
hits.
hit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to need you to go ahead and roll a, let's say, a dexterity saving throw for me, Lachlan.
I want to use my natural 20 on that one.
Nice.
Yeah, boy.
So it's like a 27.
You take 28 points of bludgeoning damage
Oh!
as this stone slams into the side of you. And it almost takes you off, but you are just, even with the shock of the pain and the use of your natural 20, you were able to stay on top of the griffin, even though the griffin kind of stumbles a bit, flapping the large wings as the boulder then begins to fall back down to the earth.
Oh boy.
That one hurt, Lachlan.
Oh yeah, I'm looking brave right now. I'm like clinging on to the griffin, bleeding and bruised. Oh.
Okay, Ashlyn moves towards the. Well, she kind of same spot that she was. She's just gonna flutter down. She's gonna shoot 2 arrows towards this frost giant that you've been engaged with, Lachlan. So the longbow shots are coming at it again. The first one will strike for 8 points of damage as it sinks into the giant's flesh. And Deshara takes a shot and will miss again. I don't think she's hit a single time.
Nope.
And that brings us back to Lachlan, who had just taken a massive hit with this boulder.
Oh man, I'm like barely hanging onto the griffin. I'm gasping. I want to kind of pat the griffin's feathers and I'm gonna try to go over to the. What's his face? Sarvin's on a cliff, right?
Yeah, he's kind of on the edge where you guys came from.
Alrighty, I want to go try to join Sarvin. I'll use my movement. I may need my cunning action. I don't know if
you can get
there.
You can. He's probably about between 60 and 70 feet away, so you can reach him with one movement.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, then I want to kind of land near him.
Okay.
And kind of pat him on the shoulder, like, Your Majesty, things aren't going so well for us.
Yeah, you guys both look in the same shape. Yeah. All beat up, bruised, and got blood like coming out of your nose and mouth, and it's just.
Yeah.
You guys have been stomped. What else would you like to do?
I'm gonna pull out the old short bow.
Ooh, the old short bow.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go ahead and fire off a shot at this guy at the giant.
Okay, he's about 60 feet away from you.
Okay. I don't get anything special on. Oh gosh.
Yeah, as you fire, you haven't shot your short bow in a while. You've been used to the crossbow that you've been using, and you're just just the arrow drifts a little bit to the left and just barely misses.
I did that one on purpose, Darvin. That was on purpose. I was just kind of scaring him a little, and then that's the end of my turn.
If that's what you say.
The honest truth.
So Sarvin gets ready. He's going to fire 2 longbow shots. At this giant coming towards you with hatred, and he's going to hit with both. See? Lachlan, that's how it's done.
Oh.
Does 9 points of
I could've done
damage.
that too.
As both these arrows pierce through its dragon hide armor and strike. Jolin takes a shot with his short bow and misses terribly as the arrow just like hits the ground and just slides along the icy surface. That brings us to Diana. Diana, this giant is starting to get a lot closer to you guys as he's making his way. He's got one more ramp to kind of climb, about a 30-foot ramp, and he'll be right up with Lachlan and Sarvin and Jolin.
Man.
With every step, he smiles a little bit brighter as he's getting closer to Lachlan with his great axe in hand.
Okay. I'm going to... Lachlan, are you
He's really hurt.
the same? He's really hurt?
Really hurt.
Okay,
Save your
Lachlan.
prayers for the needy.
Lachlan. How near is Lachlan?
He's probably about 50 feet below you.
Okay.
I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Can Lachlan use his movement to meet me up, or does he have a griffin?
He landed his griffin. And
Okay.
he's kind of standing next to Sarvin right now. They seem to be
Mm-hmm.
creating a line as this giant is heading to you. It's beat up Lachlan and his griffin standing there. Jolan, this little halfling with a little short bow, and Sarvin, who looks as bad off as Lachlan right now, standing there.
Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm gonna fly down to Lachlan. And how near is that putting me with giants?
The giant's about 60 feet away from where Lachlan is, so.
Okay. And how much movement is that using?
50 feet. So you'll still have 30 feet left on the griffin.
God bless. Ilmate or bless. I'm gonna go down to Lachlan and cast Cure Wounds. It's only gonna be at level 1. But you get 11 points of healing.
All right.
Feel better.
And that is my last... Lachlan, that is my last spell you need to get in the air.
What about Sarvin?
That was my last spell. I'm sorry. Come
I
back
can't
to me.
abandon him. I can't run away from my king. I appreciate-
Lachlan, the only time I have another spell to help you is when you're actually dead, and I need to revive you.
Me?
Get in the air. And I'll...
Diana, I appreciate your encouragement. You are an inspiration.
Yeah. And I'll turn to Sarvin. Could my griffin carry Sarvin with me?
Sarvin
Lachlan's good.
is a massive dragonborn.
Oh.
He probably wouldn't be able to ride a griffin. I mean, it would take a griffin all it had to just
crap.
take Sarvin himself.
Oh, Molfin might get mad at me, but can I take a pinch of the little tiny pinch and just fairy dust him, Tinkerbell him?
I'll allow it. Technically, it would be an action, but I'll allow it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead and roll a D100 for me.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Let's hope your luck holds like Mole does.
Sarvin gonna get to Peter Pan it.
Oh no.
Could turn him into a termite.
Oh no.
Never,
Wait, it has random effects.
yeah, you never know what this stuff does.
It
I
grows.
That's why Molfin throws it at people. Who knows what it's gonna do?
Oh no.
I
We got a
love it.
36.
All right.
Oh, no.
As you
Oh,
sprinkle this, Sarvin starts to. You sprinkled it on Sarvin, right? That's who you. It was Sarvin that you
Yeah.
sprinkled it on. Sarvin starts to. You see him get a little bit lighter on his feet, and he starts to float just a little bit above the ground. He's oh, what now? What is happening? What?
You,
Is that?
you need to run too. Okay, no more of this here. I forgot about the little gnome halfling thing. Oh no.
Probably ride with me.
Jolin's just standing there all nervous. It's
Jolan
just-
could ride
Oh,
with me. We're
Jolan.
little.
Oh,
Yeah,
sweet
he can ride with
Jolan.
Lachlan. They're
You're
both
tiny.
small.
You can come with me.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna go because I've done too many things. This is past 6 seconds.
Yeah. So Diana starts flying. She flutters 30 more feet above. So you're about 90 feet away from the giant.
Okay.
Um,
Lachlan, do not forget what I told you. The next spell that I have is for in case of death.
Well, we'll see how this goes.
You guys are Callista and Molfin. One more turn, and you guys will have reached the bottom. with Kentucky.
Okay.
Is there anything that you guys would be doing in the meantime?
Callista, you should be there with them. Cast your spell and leave me.
I can't lose concentration on invisibility. If I go wild shape, it's not going to do you any good being invisible.
And what if they die? They are dealing with 3 giants up there.
I told them to stay out of range. If they're smart, they'll listen to me. We gotta trust them, Molphin.
Molphin looks at her, eye to eye. You do realize my great-grandson is up there.
I know!
And you,
He's the
of all
problem! I'm
people,
not worried about the
are
others,
saying,
I'm worried about him!
as am I, and you're saying to trust this man.
I'm telling you to trust Diana.
Molphin and Callista, you guys have heard this enormous crash happen. It sounded like something just totally fell off the cliffside. You've heard something that sounded like a bell rolling off the cliffside. You've heard the awful squeaking and squawking of a bird. You sound what sounds like a flamethrower several times. It sounds like there's utter chaos happening on the other side of where you guys are.
Callista, if you are telling me to believe in Diana, then I will do so. But I will also hold her responsible if anything happens to Lachlan.
Hold me responsible. Moby left him in my charge, so hold me responsible.
You have seen me bring a lynched man back to
I'm
life.
Diana. This is on me, Molphin. This is my idea, so let's do it.
So the frost giant during this conversation is charging towards Lachlan and his group. And as he's getting closer, he realizes he's not going to be able to get close enough. Still about 30 feet away from you guys. But pulls something from his back and just tosses with this large net towards you, towards all of you. Unfortunately, I did all the rolls. And Lachlan, the Griffin, and Sarvin were all able to dodge out of the way of this net as it came towards you, but Jolin, the halfling, is now currently trapped under this net that just pins him to the ground, and you just hear him yelp underneath this thing.
Oh no, that baby, no.
And the other frost giant is just continuing to work his way up to get a little bit closer to where you guys are. And that brings us to Ashlyn, who is going to fire 2 more longbow shots at. And she's just like, why aren't they leaving? And she just fires 2 more longbows.
There we go.
Oh yeah, those will both hit. 1 for 13 and 1 for 6. So 19 points of damage total. This frost giant is not looking in very good shape. And in the midst of him casting the net, Deshara's shot goes wide and sticks into the ground beside him.
Damn, Deshara.
She's rolled a 3, a 4, a 1, a 6, a 5. It's like every single time.
I think she's got a dragonborn father.
It may be. All right, and that brings us back to Lachlan.
Oh no!
You're standing there. Jolin is now trapped underneath this very large net. You can see that Sarvin is starting to. Sarvin's like hovering like a foot above the ground. He's just going, oh, wait, what do I do?
You could fly. That would be one thing to do, Your Majesty. Jolin, it's been nice knowing you.
What okay.
How what are these how thick are these ropes? What do they look like? What are they made of?
It looks like hempen rope, but it looks like it's like treated. Like it looks pretty.
Remember how long it took Callista to bite it off? gizzard?
It took
Treated, huh?
2 rounds.
Yeah, it took 2
That's a good
rounds.
point.
Jolin, I need you to be ready to stop, drop, and roll, okay?
I
Do you
my
trust
God.
me?
He just looks at you. I can't move.
No.
Can't-
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
just
Say, help! I'm so
Sorry.
I'm so scared. Help me! Help! I'm so
I'm
scared.
scared too, Jolin. I'm scared. And I want to take a deep breath and try to aim it at the part of the net that he's not in, and
All right. The net cannot make a dexterity saving throw, so it's going to take the damage. So you can roll your damage.
Oh no.
11 points. Let me see something. Real quick. I don't think 11 points is going to be enough to do it. If I remember right. Let me double check this stat block in here.
Fly.
Oh, 11 points is not enough to break the rope.
Not
Just
enough.
not enough. You can see that you've done some damage to it, Lachlan, and you've torched it in
Yeah.
some places, and some of it's frayed and starting to loosen. But you think it's going to take one more breath or a little bit of cutting on it to get it the rest of the way.
yeah.
So you have a movement and a bonus action.
Um,
Mount up and run.
I'm so scared. Help me, Lachlan.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, moral conundrum.
It's not though.
It is.
Just remember, what would Moby
For
do?
Diana, maybe.
Moby, you've been a terrible influence on me.
What would Zolkin do?
What would Zolkin
What would
do?
Kellen
What
do?
7 snakes do? The one time I tell you to follow your freaking morals.
That's a question no one should ever ask themselves. What would Zolkin do?
Oh,
I'm gonna
God.
drop. I guess I'm gonna drop my longbow,
Okay, it's a free action.
and I'm gonna kind of pull out my short sword and go over the net near Jolin here, and then end my turn there.
So you're just like standing there boldly with your short sword, like over the net?
Yep.
Okay.
Molten's gonna kill me.
Sarvin. Oh, so this is what it would be like if I had wings.
It is.
Sarvin only takes 5 feet for him to get near the net. Pulls out his short sword and takes a swipe at the net. He has advantage on the roll. As he swings at the net. I can see if that even hits the net. It may not. Well, it would hit it, it just doesn't do any damage to it. So Sarvin tries to take a swipe, but the cool thing is I think Sarvin has multi-attack, so he can attack it again. He does.
Oh.
Thank
Come on, sorry.
God. Let's see if the second one is good. It does it. He gets it. Let's see. Oh.
Oh,
And
buddy.
Lachlan, as you're standing there, you see him. He hits the net, but he hit it in one of those like thick spots that you hadn't already damaged, and it just carves a little bit into it, and it doesn't break. And then he takes it sort of around again, and he swipes back, and this time it just barely catches one of the places that you torched, and you see the net break free and loosen around Jolin, and Jolin has been freed. Sarvin scoops Jolin up and starts to fly up into the sky. I think does the pixie dust get you 60 feet of flying speed, or is it just your movement? I cannot remember.
I'm not sure.
60 'cause it's fly?
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 60.
Let
me see
if I can.
If it acts as a fly spell,
Doesn't seem to have pixie dust in the
No, it doesn't.
compendium here.
I'm just looking for it. I'm just trying to find it here.
I think
if
it's.
it's fly spell, it's 60.
I can't remember if it was in the DMG or the player's handbook.
DMG, I think.
I'm trying to see how far he can get away.
Just checking here. Yeah, and this doesn't give me anything to go on. Hey, Twitch chat, if you're out there, if you happen to know what the flying speed of pixie dust is, feel free to drop it in there as we are having a moment.
Having a moment, yeah. I can't find it right now, so we're just going to say it's 60 feet, and we can adjust it later. So he takes off. He gets about 40 feet. Or no, it would be more like 55 feet up in the air, and he's got Jolin in his grasp as he's taking him up from there. And you know what? He's actually going to try to swoop up and grab. He's going to grab Lachlan as well by the back of his collar, and he starts to pull Lachlan up too. So he's got Jolin in one arm, and he's got Lachlan in his other hand, and he's flying up, and he gets about 55 feet in the air above.
My legs are flailing and kicking in the air wildly.
And he not only moves 50 feet up, but he's moving kind of away from the giant as well. So he's putting some distance in between you guys.
That we have.
A lot of run.
Diana.
Oh my gosh. Okay, as soon as I see Lachlan not take my advice and run towards the thing that's gonna kill him, I'll turn around. Can I get within 60 feet
Oh, yeah.
of the giant?
Yes.
Okay. I will get 60 feet.
Okay.
Literally on the edge of that 60 feet.
Okay.
Just because I need to protect my boys. I'll yell in giant Kelb Hatilik, and I will and I'll cast what's it? Sacred Flame at him.
Sacred Flame?
Ooh.
Yes.
He rolls a 7.
What I said basically translates to female dog, I will kill you.
He rolled a 17, so he makes his save.
The point was that I look vaguely scared. Throwing flame at you and cursing at you.
And you still probably have about 40 feet of movement left.
Do you think that doing this would have garnered his attention away from the boys and put it more towards myself?
Oh yeah. He had to. He heard you say that, looked towards you, and that was what was able to help him dodge. Is the fact that you shouted out towards him, and he was able to kind of get the jump on you and dodge your sacred flame attack.
That's fine. I wanted his attention. I wanted fly more up, so I'm away from him and maybe a little bit out of his range, but still within his eye line.
Okay.
So he doesn't so I just want him focused on me and to focus on attacking me rather than on the boys.
Okay. So you're about 100 feet up from him.
Okay.
And he is going to start to... He's still kind of running towards where everybody is in the direction where you guys are all kind of headed. And he's looking up at you while he's doing this, and there's an old dead tree that's laying on the ground, and he picks it up and he whips it towards you. So he's gonna have disadvantage on this. He rolls a 16. I think yours is 15, right?
Yeah. My armor class says 9 right now, which is weird because it is normally a 15.
Yeah, it shouldn't be 9.
I wonder if it broke when the sheets reset.
It might have done that, yeah.
Is my scale
It sounds
mail,
like
does
your
it
armor
not
is
think that
not
it's
up.
equipped?
You take 14 points of bludgeoning damage as this massive tree is thrown up towards you and slams into you as you're kind of starting to fly away from him.
14?
14 points of bludgeoning damage. The tree kind of breaks a little bit over your back and breaks into two pieces as the rotting wood just breaks apart and falls down towards the ground.
Cool. I mean, what can you do?
Callista and Mulfin, you guys have reached the bottom of the cliffside with Kentucky, and Kentucky kind of looks towards you guys. He's like, "What? right over there, and he kind of points in the direction. You guys can see probably the back half of the longship, and you can see the edge of the ice where it kind of meets where the ocean is along the edge. It's still several hundred feet away, but you can see the back of the longship.
Let's do this.
I'd say it's probably about 250 feet away from you guys right now.
Calista, cast your enchantment and then
You
make sure
have.
that the others are okay.
And you already have your spell up.
What would we say? Would I have already cast it, Michael?
I
To get
thought
down.
you retconned it because you didn't want to cast it if you knew it was going to go away from you. So I assume you'd keep it until we got here.
Yeah.
That works.
Mhm.
Okay.
So.
Pop up the invisible guy.
All right.
And
The
once
unseen
he
servant
and,
is
like,
there.
I'm gonna tell Malfin to hold like his items in his hand and get the servant to hold them at the same time, so they're like both holding the items at the same time, and cast invisibility on Malfin.
Okay.
So the unseen servant can feel what he's holding.
Okay. Sure. So basically, Mulfin vanishes in every and now you're completely invisible, Mulfin.
Wolfen will sort of put one arm around the unseen servant.
Come along then.
And start trundling along out towards the boat.
All right.
Once that thing goes up in flames, you leave that servant and you run here as fast as you can.
That is the plan.
Good.
You hear float vaguely out.
Now, please, go and check on my great-grandson.
I don't say anything.
All right. So Callista, what is your plan after this?
How far away am I from the rest of the group? Like, feet-wise? How many hundreds of feet?
I mean, you're at the bottom of the cliff, and they're at the top of the cliff. So, my goodness, probably anywhere between 500-600 feet, maybe. Probably,
dash.
I think dash on a back of a griffin. That's what 160 feet a turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it'd be 4 to 5 turns to get up there.
hmm And how long do I figure it's going to take Malfin to get to that ship? What's
It's
the
about
distance?
250 feet away from the ship. I'm not
About
sure.
the same with Molfin's movement.
About the same with Mulfin's movement. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm so torn right now.
Decisions.
Do what's right, Calista. Deal with my great-grandson.
Okay, I will tell Kentucky to stay here. Does he have a flint or something that he could set a bow on fire and like flare it?
He's kind of like, I've got this crossbow, and he's holding a light crossbow. Has a bolt loaded into it. I've got this scimitar, and he goes.
Okay.
How
Do you
about?
have a torch?
Oh, wait a minute.
I think I might have a torch.
I gave Diana my backpack.
I'll give him a torch. I'll light it with my druidcraft.
All
I
right.
hand it to him. If anything goes wrong, you light this crossbow and you send it up in the air.
Okay. I can try.
And okay. I'm gonna get on Malik and just bolt it back to where I last saw Lachlan and Diana.
Okay. So you get on the back of Malik. Malik takes off. I assume you're using your dancing lights to kind of guide him along and
Oh yeah.
put him. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. And Ashlyn is going to take 2 more shots at the frost giant again. The one that's kind of looking towards Diana now. It's going to hit with both of those longbow shots. $15 points of damage as she strikes. Let's see, Deshara. That one just barely hits.
Deshara has become not completely useless.
For 7 points of damage as a crossbow bolt strikes this ice frost giant, and he is not looking in very good shape right now. He's got a bunch of bolts in him, but he's torched in several places. Got all these burns, terrible burns. His armor has been blackened in many places. He's not looking like he's in good shape. And that brings us to Lachlan.
What's Solana the Griffin doing right now?
Kind of waiting. Yeah, you kind of left her standing down there. So that's a good point. She's now acting on her own. So let's see. Solana starts to fly towards the fire giant.
What?
Or excuse me, the
They're a
frost
fire
giant.
giant?
No, excuse me, the frost giant. Excuse me. And go ahead, Lachlan. I'm going to let you roll for this since Solana is your griffin.
Oh boy.
And she's going to bite and claw at the frost giant.
What are the modifiers on?
I'm looking it up right now, trying to check it up. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Such a brave and noble creature! Single tear wells up in the corner of my eye.
Okay, the beak is a +6 for the bite. They're both plus. They're both +6.
Not bad.
Oh, a critical hit and a 22. Okay, the beak is going to be 2d8 +4 as it bites into the frost giant, dealing 12 points of damage. My
And it's
goodness.
2d8 with the crit?
Yes, 2d8 with the crit. And then the claws are going to be 2d6 +4.
Nice.
Another 12 points.
I need to be a griffin. That's all. I'll start getting.
The frost giant is stumbling back as the griffin is just like flown up, and you see that the griffin Solana just bites with her beak into the chest of this frost giant and slashes with these eagle claws right across. You can see that some of the white dragon hide that he's wearing gets attached to her claws, and it's now hanging from her claws with blood dripping from them as well. Solana, you can see almost this bright glimmer of sunlight like catch her majestically from behind and shine, almost giving that silhouette of a heroic griffin going right after. And Lachlan, it's your turn. What would you like to do?
All right. How far am I from that frost giant at this point? I'm like hanging by my collar with Sarvin, right?
Yeah, you're hanging by your collar. He's about 55 feet above it, kind of maybe 30 feet angle. So I guess we'd say between 60 and 70 feet, roughly.
Okay. Let's see here. Then I want to pull out the Gimbal's crossbow as I'm tangling.
Okay.
And I think I have an ally within 5 feet of that thing. So if I hit it, I might be a little fortunate here.
You do.
Oh, probably not.
I don't think. Nope. 14 is not enough. So you're just the fact that you're holding barely.
Yeah.
You're being held onto. It's just shaking you around. You can't get a good bead on it through the scope, and the crossbow bolt just flies wide.
Solana, don't die! Run! Knowing that she probably can't. She's a griffin. And that's the end of my turn.
All right, Sarvin is using his turn just to continue to fly with Jolin. As you guys get about 60 more feet away. This time he's not going up quite so high, and he's kind of just leveled it off, and he's kind of trying to make his way towards kind of where he saw Callista and them go. Diana.
Oh boy. Okay. I just want to yell at the griffin. Have I learned how to call griffins and like command them and just kind of be like whistle, like, "Hey, come here, kitty, kitty."
You're calling towards Solana?
Yeah, just
Okay.
kitty, kitty.
Go ahead and make an animal handling
Yeah.
check.
Okay. Do I have advantage? Not advantage. Do I have like a DM's inspiration?
You do, yeah. You can use it.
Oh.
Yeah, I use that.
Oh yeah, you're able to get the griffin's attention, even though it's engaged in front of this frost giant. It kind of turns its head and looks towards you when it hears the whistle.
Because I'm at disadvantage naturally because of exhaustion. That's kind of a straight roll, so it's a 13 and an 18. So do I still get her attention?
That wouldn't do it because she's so busy
Nope.
being engaged. But thank you for your honesty.
Yeah.
+1 honor.
Yeah, +1 honor.
For honor.
Playing a cleric. Oh, yeah. I get a nat 20 for that?
You feel Ilmater just touch you on the shoulder and say, "That's it, Diana. Good job."
That's nice, sweetie.
We will forgive you one attempted murder.
Was that just like a Jones quote? You can't unkill somebody by saving someone else.
Nice.
Man, spoilers.
Seeing that that's not working, I'll get further out of range of the giant and follow my boys and just hope that Deshara can get her griffin in check.
Okay.
And that's it. I have literally nothing else I can do. So.
Okay. The frost giant continues to run towards you guys, and is still kind of got a bead on you, Diana. Keeping its eyes up.
Okay.
Unfortunately for him, he's in such a zone right now and in such a rage that he's not looking where he's going. And I just rolled a perception check, and I also rolled a dexterity saving throw, which both of them fail. And he actually slips off of the cliffside in front of you when he is not paying attention. And you, Callista, as you're starting to fly off, you watch as the body of this large creature just starts to disappear off the top of the cliffside near you and starts to fly down rapidly towards you. And missing you by just about 15 feet, you just hear this groaning.
God!
And this frost giant just slams into the ground area right next to where Kentucky is standing with this torch in his hand.
Oh my god.
Is it dead?
It is dead.
Thank God. Okay. Is Kentucky okay?
He's looking up at you with eyes wide, and he's holding the torch in his hand. And
Do I light it now?
What is this? Am I supposed to shoot an arrow in the air now? Is that what I'm
No.
supposed to do?
Not yet. Not yet. Hold.
Deshara is kind of still fluttering above, and she starts to call out, "The other one is coming! We need to hurry!"
Don't forget Solana!
And Callista, I'm assuming you're still going to use your dash to continue up.
For the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Molfin is using his dash to move across the ice.
Just to make sure, this thing didn't like land on me,
No,
did it?
it landed on
We
the
were right there.
no, you had moved.
No, you were nowhere near it.
You heard him slam down. But he was a lot closer to Kentucky than he was to you.
It's just still mad dash towards the boat. Can I see how many things are on it yet? I know you said still
Yeah, go
At this
ahead
point,
and make a perception check.
it's running at 50 feet a turn,
Oh,
so
can I do a perception check while I'm up here?
Yeah.
Sure. I just want to see everything else.
Molfin, you can start to see several shapes aboard the ship, and it looks like there's maybe 8 frost giants aboard the long ship as you're approaching.
Oh.
They don't seem to. They seem to be like they're kind of just getting things ready. They seem to be organizing things, moving crates. They don't seem to be panicking or bothered at this point. They haven't taken notice of much of what's going on because it seems like they're just keeping themselves busy. But you're not sure how much longer you have before they start to realize that things are going down and things are going downhill.
yeah.
Once you saw that giant slam into the ground beside you, you may not have much more time.
And that would, but you said when we left Kentucky, it was what, like 200 feet to the boat?
It's like 250 feet, so you still got.
So it's another 2.5 rounds.
Yep.
Okay, still mad dash.
All right. Ashlyn now is starting to focus her attention on the other one that's coming up. So you guys can see she is just taking shots and firing down at this other one that's now kind of about where the other frost giants were when you guys first engaged. The second one is going to strike and deal 6 points of damage. Deshara takes a shot. Unfortunately, she misses, and it goes to Lachlan.
I think at this point I'm dangling from Sarvin. Do I have any giants near me? Or
None that you can see from where you're at.
okay. Sarvin, that was a wild fight, wasn't it? Whew.
I don't think we're quite out of the woods yet.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the ride. I think that's about all I can do on my turn. Though.
Okay. Solana starts to lift off towards the area, and she starts to head towards the formation that Ashlyn and Deshara are in. Their standard thing to do is to kind of follow Screecher and Deshara. So that's what she kind of starts to fly up to do. Sarvin continues to move towards... guess he kind of be floating towards where Diana is, so he kind of floats right next to Diana, holding Lachlan and Jolin tight.
You know, Sarvin, I think I left my short bow back there. I don't suppose we can go back and get it, huh?
Let's deal with this first.
Yeah, fair enough.
Jolin is like in tears.
I reach over and pat him. You shot well there, little guy.
I tried. That brings us to Diana.
My poor baby. I'm doing the same as the boys. I am flying higher and fleeing fast as I can.
Okay. All right. The other frost giant is still using his complete dash. It's taken him a little bit longer. He's slipping and sliding on some of these ramps on the icy ledges and things. Seems to be a little bit clumsier than the others, and he's holding 2 weapons, and he's trying to manipulate how he's holding them and using his hands to help him kind of grip the sides to head on up. So that brings us to Callista and Molfin.
Okay. Can I, from where I am, can I see things other than the harbor?
You could actually kind of go around the edge of where the harbor is, and you could get a visual on what's going on in the actual harbor and the bay itself.
No, I mean like the other parts of the city from where I'm at, or is the cliff?
It's too high. You have to keep on continuing to fly up.
Okay. Then yeah, I just want to keep going up and do another perception check as I'm going, keeping an eye on the the harbor in general.
Okay. Are you kind of making your way around, like, to where, like, the inside of this, like, mine is, like, carved out from the bay itself?
Yeah, I want to be discreet as possible from any eyes that could see me right now.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead and make your perception check.
Okay.
And now, while she's rolling that, quick question for you, Michael.
Sure.
Is Sarvin and everyone who's following Sarvin leading the giant right to where, like, Molfin, Kentucky, and Callisto went into this secret entrance?
The giant doesn't have visual on them yet.
Oh, okay, so it's just charging
Yeah.
up the hill.
Yeah, he's still coming up the cliff. The only thing that the giant can see right now is Deshara and Ashlyn basically circling above it, firing arrows and crossbow bolts down at it. And now, pretty soon, Solana will be joining that mix too. And Callista, you can see this as you're kind of flying up, and you kind of come around into the bay just a little bit, just to take a look. You can see that this giant is about reached like the second level from the top, and is almost getting to the top of the cliff. But you can see that Ashlyn and Deshara are up there, kind of circling around, firing down at it.
Okay.
It's at that point too that you start to see that the giants on the aboard the longship start to get a little bit more animated, as it seems a couple of them looked over and they can see that one of the giants is lying down at the bottom of the cliff, and they can see they're kind of like pointing in that direction. You can hear shouts kind of back and forth on the longship.
Okay.
It seems as if, too, on the other side of the bay, that the three that were kind of putting rocks and stuff in front of the mines have moved actually farther away from the group and are continuing to close up these holes with boulders, but have their backs turned to all this and are far enough away that it's out of earshot.
Okay. Yeah, I want to fly more inward towards the cliff.
Okay. Sounds good. And Molfin is continuing to head his way towards the longship. And as you do, Molfin, you can start to see that the giants are getting a little bit more animated than they were just a few seconds ago. Ashlyn.
Can Molfin,
Yeah, go ahead.
Molfin is going to instruct the invisible servant to fork. And as he continues more directly at the boat, he's going to send the servant sort of off towards the like, I'm picturing where we're coming from on the boat on one spot, coming up like towards the rear of it.
Yeah.
I want to send the invisible servant so it's sort of mirroring my speed and dashing, so it's sort of in between the boat and where the others were.
Okay. Sure.
And then instruct it once it gets out to a certain point, as the giants start to, if they start to come off the boat, to literally just start reaching down for whatever snow, sand, dirt, pebbles, whatever it can, and just start throwing it up into the air around it. Just basically make a scene.
Okay. Fair enough.
Something to try to draw their attention and away from the others is...
If you could feel your unseen servant nod at you, that's what you feel.
There's just a really sort of awkward, invisible conversation with two people looking at each other and both nodding repeatedly and neither one of them having a clue what the other's doing.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So while you were having that conversation, Ashlyn was able to put 2 more arrows into this giant that's coming up the cliffside for 22 points of damage. Unfortunately, Deshara missed again. I think she only hit once this whole entire combat, as she was unable to connect. And that brings us to Lachlan again.
Still hanging from Sarvin.
Still hanging. Sarvin's
Dangling my little legs.
Dangling your little legs. Actually, Sarvin decides to take you as... well, he'll do that on his turn. He'll take you, and he'll kind of put you onto the griffin with Diana.
Oh.
You're getting too heavy, Lachlan.
Sorry, I've been eating a little bit on this journey, you know?
And he just kind of sets you on there, and he continues to kind of flutter around with Jolin, just kind of sticking with Diana. Wherever Diana goes, he's going to kind of stick alongside with her. And that brings us to
Hey,
Diana.
Am I like sitting behind her like on a motorcycle?
Yeah, you got your little gnome arms like wrapped around her waist.
Little,
Hello. I see you're still breathing.
yeah, pretty crazy fight, huh?
Yes, I see you had to be physically yanked out of it.
Joel needed a hand.
I would have done the same thing. All right.
Sure, totally, absolutely, yeah.
I'm a cleric. I so would have done the same thing.
I was inspired by you, Dinah. Inspired by you.
Exactly. Of course you were. I'm inspiring. I'm gonna fly, but if we are headed towards shocking, I'm gonna fly away. If we are headed towards where Molson and Callista were, I don't want to go there because I don't want to lead them there.
There is a spot over there, like the brush is all dead and stuff, but you think you may be able to go and you can find maybe a place to hide over there if that were an option, because the growth is a little bit more extensive over there. That's why nobody can really see this this pathway that leads down there, because it's pretty well hidden with foliage and things like that. There's that option.
Do I need to do a perception check to see how to see that, or?
No, you just see that.
Okay. Okay, because I remember we needed to do this as I had the word and then I lost it. Is it again? As inconspicuous as possible.
Okay.
So, I'll to get back to Dashara's as inconspicuous as possible. So if Giant Homeboy is no longer paying attention to us.
Well, it's not that he's not paying attention to you. He hasn't gotten to a point where his head is above the cliffside where he can see you. You guys are kind of flying over at a distance from where Dashara is. So if you wanted to go towards Dashara, you could, but then you're revealing yourself to the giant who's coming up the cliffside.
I want to go to Dashara's home, in the forest.
Oh yeah. You want to go to her home? Yeah, you can go that way too. That's an option.
Because I remember that was the plan. I think was if as soon as we see smoke, we fly, but we try and do it under the radar.
Okay. All right. So you're gonna start heading that way then, in that direction.
Yes.
Okay. How are you going to get your griffin to do this? Because your griffin isn't really going to want to leave Screecher and Dashara.
That's true. Oh no. Ooh.
Dana, we could go fight.
What?
We could go fight. We could do some aerial combat.
I'm gonna throw you off of this thing.
Please don't.
No, we're not fighting. I mean, if you would like to, do you want a pinch of fairy dust and you can go run away and go fight things? I'll do it.
She's holding this pouch in front of you and she's like, I'll do it. She's threatening you, Lachlan.
Last time that stuff was weird. Made me feel really spooky.
All right then. Then we'll fly in the direction of Dashara's, so long as I'm aware that no one is following us. But oh yeah, I have to do. Ooh.
Should we wait around and see what happens to Gramps? Maybe we could rescue him.
Callista told us that if we saw smoke, the plan worked and everything was good. My only concern is we haven't seen smoke yet, but we also are at a point where the giant hasn't seen us or won't see where we're going yet. So now would be the only opportunity to flee, but we haven't seen the smoke yet, so we don't know if the plan worked.
Yeah. I'm like scratching my head.
Oh my god.
I'll fly towards the hidden area and not Deshara's place.
Okay. So you,
Yeah,
Do
you
I still
basically
try and
you're
fix the
flying
plan?
down to the ground, and Sarvin is following you with Jolin, because he
Ooh, I don't
basically
wanna fight.
and
Forward.
so you find this foliage. Go ahead and if you want to try to hide, you guys can make stealth checks in the foliage.
Oh, okay. Can I do perception check too to see if there's any giants nearby?
Yeah, sure.
A 12.
The closest one to you is the dead one lying about 500 feet on the shoreline below you, the one that was after Lachlan and had an unfortunate incident next to the cliff.
Poppin'. Ooh,
All right.
3.
Lachlan, you can go ahead and roll a stealth check as well since you're with her. Okay. And also, go ahead and roll one for the griffin. It's a +2, so roll a d20 +2
For both of us?
for the griffin.
I think it's your
Okay.
griffin.
1d20 +2. If my griffin has better stealth than me, my griffin does have better stealth than me. It's not
Big
by
ol'-
much. It's better.
All right. Jolin rolled an 18 and Sarvin rolled a 19. So you guys are kind of finding some spots to hide within this foliage as the frost giant is making his way up the final ramp. Seems to be stumbling a bit and having trouble getting to the top. Callista, this gives you an opportunity to get near the top, and you can see that the giant is really struggling to get up to the top. And the Ashlyn and Deshara are just raining down all these arrows on top of them. The rest of the party kind of hiding up at the top. Mulfin and Callista. Basically, I'm going to leave this in your hands right now. We're going to kind of get ourselves out of this turn order right now.
Okay.
And Callista, what would you be doing?
Has the noise stopped above?
You can hear, yeah, most of the noises have stopped above, but you can hear that, like, you can see that giant is still climbing up those ramps, moving his way up towards all the commotion and towards Deshara and the other griffins and Ashlyn. Still, he can't really do much. He's just trying to make his way up there to see what's going on. To try to take them
Okay.
out of the sky if he can.
How far am I from the landing?
At this point, we say you're about 150 feet.
If I were to go to the landing, is there coverage there?
Like, you mean kind of like the ledges along the cliffside? Is that what you're talking about? Or the landing
Yeah,
up?
like if I want to be discreet about coming up over the top, is
there,
that possible? Like, is there
Oh, like-
foliage or?
not really, but you could kind of work the griffin back around the cliffside where
Like
it kind of protrudes.
if I go back through like the passage,
You could, yeah.
okay, I'll do that. I'll go back through the passage.
Back kind of where the
heading-
passage
yeah,
was,
like fly
flying.
up
Yeah,
where it was, and then go that way.
that's fine. Go ahead and make a stealth check as you're doing this.
Okay. You know what? Can I do something before I do that?
Sure.
Oh no, I can't. Never mind. I'll just do it. Do a straight spell. Nope.
All right. Go ahead and also make a perception check. Okay. As you're kind of flying out of where the foliage is, you see that there is a griffin's head like sticking out of some of the foliage over in the corner.
Okay.
as you kind of like fly by, and it's just kind of like turns its head kind of back and forth, looking up and looking down, and it pecks a little bit at some of the foliage and breaks a twig off of one
I'm
of them.
gonna stop right beside it.
Okay. As you stop right beside it, you hear somebody go, "Shh! We're trying to hide here. My goodness, you're gonna give our position away, Callista." Oh!
Starve it.
Hey, Callista.
Oh my god, thank God.
Oh, wait! Don't look at us! Don't look at us! He's wiping. He's
I told you to
Sarvin
go to Shara.
wiping all
What are you
this
doing?
blood off his face.
I told you to go to the shards. What are you doing here?
Sarvin just points at Lachlan.
I pointed Sarvin.
It was their idea.
Get on this griffin and go. How hurt are you? Do they look pretty bad?
Sarvin looks terrible, and he's
I'm like missing
and
a
he's
tiny
and he's
foot.
and he's. You notice that while he's hiding, he's holding on to like this root that's sticking out of the ground because his feet aren't completely on the ground.
Okay. This is for Sarvin. Take this and go.
Ooh-ha! Wow, I feel much better, and I feel really light on my feet still. and he and he
Careful, big guy.
and he grabs Jolin, and he looks like he's about ready to start taking off towards Desharas.
Lachlan, get on your griffin and go. Where's Diana?
I lost my griffin.
Hello.
Where's the griffin? Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
you
How's
see
Gramps doing? Where's Gramps?
Diana peeks over top of the griffin, and she's waving at you.
Diana, take Lachlan on this griffin and go.
Wait,
Okay.
where's Gramps? Did Gramps blow up the boat yet?
Not yet, but he's going to. I'm going back to go get him. But I need you guys to get out of here.
What if something happens? What, don't you want to take me with you? If something happens, you guys might die.
I'll handle it.
Okay.
But what if all of us went to go back and get him? Then we can, protect him.
And maybe die.
I just don't want to. How far away was that giant I last saw?
He's still quite a bit away. He hasn't even crested the top of the cliff yet.
Okay. But Dashara and Ashlyn are still dealing with him anyway.
Yeah, they're kind of just like circling around above him. He's unable to do anything to them, and they're just kind of just peppering him with arrows and things like that. You can hear the screeching of the griffins as they're kind of just flying in this big circle above the cliff.
Do I think it would be possible for us to be discreetly flying down the face of this cliff, or would the giants on the boat definitely see us coming down?
You've done an okay job of it so far, but now that they're more alert of what's going on, it might be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
How is Gramps gonna get out of there?
I was gonna fly us out of there.
I don't think Gramps really thought that one through.
If you guys think
we have a plan to rescue him, right?
I have a plan for me and him. I don't have a plan for all of us. I can take maybe 2 more or 3 more. I can't have the entire party with us. Like, and I look over at Sarvin and whatever he's doing.
He's
Oh, yeah,
kind of
okay.
he's kind of waiting on you guys to sort things out. He looks like he's feeling a lot better, but he's really enjoying the fact that he is able to fly. He's always wondered what it would be like to have real wings. So this has given him that sensation.
He deserves
Because
it.
once Malfin gets back to me, I'm stealthing us out of there. That's up to you. You guys can follow me if you want, but this is my plan. I prefer you guys to go back to Dashara's so we can regroup, but you guys are pretty tired and beat up.
Me? Oh.
Yes, Mr. Carrot Rope, we have been over that before.
Mulfin, you are standing about 30 feet away from the longship. You can see that there's commotion aboard, and it seems as if the giants aboard are preparing. They're getting some of these long oars ready on the sides of the longship. And
It looks like they're getting ready to leave.
it kind of looks like they're preparing to maybe... you do see one that has a very long kind of like hollowed out horn in his hands, and he's kind of walking towards the front of the longship.
Oh, it's going to take me 12 seconds to get there because my movement's only... Well, 12 seconds for me to do anything because I can only go 25 feet if I dash 50.
No, you're 30. You're 30 feet away.
Right, so if
Okay.
I dash, I can get up to it, but I can't do anything until the next round, next quote-unquote round.
Okay.
But on the back of this, I know you said they've got oars. Is there a rudder on the back of it?
Not really. I don't think they do have a rudder on the back, but I can check. Let me double check to make sure. I've got a map of one in here. Because I think they basically use the oars to steer it. Yeah. There it is. Let me double check. No, there's no rudder at all. It kind of it comes to like a complete. It's like a point at both the front and the back.
Oh, okay. So, and what is this?
Basically, imagine one of those old Viking ships.
Oh, okay.
Just imagine much bigger to deal with the giants that are aboard.
Oh, okay. So Molfin's going to go in, fumbling around on the inside of his robe through his pockets where he can't see anything, looking for the broken dagger that the dagger Lachlan gave him that the tip broke off.
Okay.
And basically, and I'm going to ask a mechanics question because if it's an attack roll, basically, I want to take the backpack full of grease and take the dagger and sort of wedge it in between two of the boards to sort of like stick the backpack to the
Okay.
Yeah, side of the canoe.
You're able to. There's kind of like a notch that's like kind of carved out where the handle of the oars kind of come through to the outside, and you're able to kind of like jam that backpack into that spot, to the side.
And then,
but kind of as soon as you release from that backpack, though, that backpack is going to become visible.
Yep. So one hand still on it, the other hand goes in for the back in, pulls out a little piece of parchment, puts that into the opening of the backpack, and sort of pinches it with the other hand so it's still held and invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Then out with the fire starter that I took from Diana. Probably burned my hand a little trying to aim it right because I can't see. So it's
Yep. And as that happens, this flame starts to erupt on this just out of nowhere. It's kind of weird because everything's invisible. So just all of a sudden you just get this flame.
And then I'm going to push it towards the inside of the boat.
All right. So all of a sudden you push it in, and what are you doing while this is taking place? You're starting to see some black smoke start to come up from this homemade wick that you had made.
Looking down, do I see a rock anywhere on the ground? Small pebble, anything?
And you see a little chunk of ice.
That'll work.
All right.
Picks up the chunk of ice, turns and starts booking it the other direction. Almost at a sprint, but with constant eyes on the boat.
Okay. So you're kind of keeping your looking back.
Yep.
So as you're kind of looking back, you notice all of a sudden this massive flash of light as the grease inside the backpack ignites with flame.
Oh.
And it almost bursts up from the ship, and you just can hear just utter commotion happen behind you. You hear just the giants, and you just hear like there's just stomping all over the ship and coming back and forth. Some of them start rushing over, and it looks like they're starting to take things and see if they can kind of pat out some of the flames, but you can see that it's almost too much for even the frost giants to withstand. And you can see that this thing is ignited all across the deck. The grease has spread out all over the place, and the flames have just wrapped themselves around the deck of the ship. You can see that it has one sail that looks like it's made from the hide of a white dragon. And you can see that it actually starts to catch up into flames. And the ship itself is just starting to just torch. Some of the giants are actually jumping off of the boat and onto the ice and starting to run across the ice, slipping and sliding as they go. One of them actually you can see is totally consumed up in the fire and the flame and just starts like just going like this and jumps off the back of the boat into the freezing cold water. And you just hear and see the steam kind of rise up from where it jumps into the water. And now within seconds of you running back, you can see that the entire ship, basically the deck, has been just completely engulfed in flame with black smoke billowing from it. And you can hear this horn start to blow from the opposite side of the ship. It appears that one of the giants, the one with the horn,
booking it back. I've left Diana and Lachlan's decision up to themselves if they're following or not, and I'm just booking it down.
Booking it down.
Yep.
And as this is happening, and Sarvin is just a little bit ahead of you guys, he kind of there's the smoke.
Does that mean he did it?
I'm assuming at this point the invisible servant is just throwing snow and stuff.
Oh yeah. These giants are running everywhere. Some of them are just leaping off the side of the boat. Some of them are on fire, and you can see on the corner of your eye. It looks like just this a little. It looks like it's strange. It looks like a little snowstorm happening in this one little like 5-foot square over here. It's just. And that is where we will end tonight's session.
With an adorable little storm.
With an adorable little snowstorm.
Oh my gosh.
And a torched frost giant longship. Yeah, I'm sorry we missed our break. By the time I realized we missed it, it was already like 10:15, and I was like, maybe we'll just push through.
I was so into it, I didn't even need to absorbed it with the tension.
Oh my gosh.
And I would like to thank Callista for inspiring this whole plan via Drow Callista on Twitter.
Oh, thank you.
I'm impressed with the plan. That was a good plan.
Much better than the dump grease on the giant's head and light the head on fire.
Yeah, no.
Well,
I
when
like that workaround, because like once you cast a spell or attack, the invisibility drops and it's useless.
Yeah, definitely. But I want to just
that's why I was worried. I'm like, don't attack, Muffin, don't attack.
Just want to quickly thank all of our viewers tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 29 of Storm King's Thunder. Want to throw a quick reminder, next week we will not be having our normal episode of Storm King's Thunder, but Matthew will be running a one-shot right here on Friday night. I will be out of town next week, but we will be back the following week for episode 30, the big 30.
Wow.
Next time.
Oh my god.
Yeah, to see what exactly happens after the smoke has cleared, so to speak, with this adventure. And I want to thank Team MZ. I want to thank Nightshade Creations and Many Sided Dice, and thank all of you, our viewers, for hanging out with us, all of our followers and supporters and subscribers. At this point, I wanted to go ahead and throw out to our players who should get our D20, our free Nat 20 for our next session. Ashlyn still has one from earning it last time, so she will still have one for her next time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot we gave out 2 last week.
Yeah, we gave out 2 last week.
Yeah.
Any viewers that are tuning in as well, if you want to chime in our Twitch chat and let us know.
Burning the boat.
I got to go with Callista for...
Callista made the plan. Yeah.
Oh.
It's between Molfin and Callista for me.
Yeah.
Both of y'all are just like, whoa. So, like, whoa.
Well, then again, you and Lachlan had to survive with 3 giants, so...
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't
And
that
Bashara
hard.
not
Just
helping
fly
at all.
Yeah. When you guys started talking about the plan, like, and having like everybody go down and kind of like work around, or everybody go and fight those giants on the other side that were, you know, dealing with the people, it would have happened exactly like Diana and Callista thought. Like the other giants were just going to come right up behind you, and you guys would have been in a mass of chaos. Like,
yeah, that's why Callista said no. That's suicide.
because you guys were in a perfect situation to deal with these ones climbing the cliff, because you had the high ground. Everything benefited you during that battle. I know Lachlan took a couple hard hits, but
I almost went down.
Yeah.
Well, that's only because you took a helmet to the face.
See, the rocks hurt worse than the improvised weapons, that's for sure. So yeah, you know what? I'm gonna give it to we'll give it to Callista this week.
Aww.
So Callista will have her nat 20 for next time. So we're gonna put that nat 20 up there for coming up with this interesting burn the boat plan that we got to see unfold tonight. So we'll put that nat 20 up there. And DM's inspiration across the board. I know some of you didn't use it tonight, I don't think.
No, I forgot about it.
I meant
But I
to,
didn't
and then I
really use that
realized I
much.
wasn't going to be making an attack roll. It was like...
Yeah, I could have done it for stealth, but other than that, there wasn't much I could have done it for.
Yeah. I mean, just because of the distance of things too, like there was a lot of just going back and forth between trying to get to,
and we
to
split
places.
the party, and it was 2 complete. Like one was natural engaging combat, the other 2 was just getting away.
Yeah, and that's what made it tough at times tonight, is because we had combat going on one side, and we had just getting there on the other side.
Props
so.
to you for juggling that beautifully, though. Like it was pretty seamless in my opinion.
I was trying to keep it. I didn't want you and Matthew to get bored.
Right.
You know, just okay. I continue to walk. I continue to walk. I continue to walk.
No, it makes sense though. I'm fine with that. At least we can look around and figure
Right, we
stuff
could look around. We could, have a couple of conversations while you're making rolls for
Adjust
Ashlyn.
Yeah. I just had them kind of just continue to pepper arrows. And Ashlyn can do her thing when she gets back. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you stop by next Friday for the one shot. I think Matthew's got something, a high level adventure planned for
we got a level 15.
Yeah.
Bubbles!
Bubbles is back. Bubbles is back.
For those of you who read fantasy novels back in the old TSR heyday, you may heavily recognize some heavy inspiration in the location.
All right. Awesome. And also want to remind you guys, Tomb of Annihilation is still on Monday nights with Matthew running that campaign for us. It's been a lot of fun. They've been struggling with some grungs recently. And
they finally got out of there, though.
There you go. So
made it to
We
level
do
6 as a result.
Insight check on Monday afternoons. It's just we've been missing a few episodes because our streamer has been in and out of the hospital for the past 2 weeks, so we're not sure if he'll make it this week or not.
Okay. Yeah, don't forget about Insight Check. Make sure you guys check those out. And is that Stumpy? Is Stumpy doing okay?
Stumpy, yeah. He's feeling pretty sick.
Okay. Well, we hope Stumpy gets better soon then, so he can get back at it, doing what he loves to do. And yeah, I think we got Tomb of Annihilation on Mondays, Insight Check on Mondays, and I think that'll about do it. Anybody else have any announcements or anything else that we need to pick out? What was that?
I have one.
It's her
Okay,
birthday!
yeah. Is it your birthday?
In 1
In
hour.
like
In
45 minutes. Yeah.
Happy early birthday!
Everybody find Zos on Twitter and make sure you send her a happy birthday.
Thank you. It's at Zastos, Haro, whatever.
There you go. You can type it in the chat.
Yes.
So you can get a lot of birthday love.
Aw. You guys
Awesome.
don't have to do that.
Molfen might
Yeah.
anyway. He's just sitting around invisible on the ground watching a boat burn, so. If only he had some rations or something,
Yeah,
sit there.
invisible popcorn, yeah. Nice. Well, excellent game,
I'm just there for the
everybody.
boat burning.
You guys
Yeah,
did. You
great
guys did
game.
awesome.
Michael,
I love the planning and the
The execution.
just the execution. Yeah, it worked out really
Didn't
well.
die!
You didn't die.
Yeah.
There were a couple scares. I was worried about Joel in there for a minute because literally the giant was just going to step on him
Oh.
if he would have gotten a
You were worried
chance.
about that, man? I was worried Lachlan was just going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was worried I was going to accidentally burn him to death.
Yeah, poor
See, then
Joel.
Molfen would have had a corpse.
Awesome. All right, well, we are going to go ahead and get offline for tonight, but make sure you guys check us out next time, and we hope that you guys have a wonderful night, and don't forget that no matter how many of your long ships catch on fire, don't forget to add your proficiency bonus. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Love you. Bye.
Love you guys.